So we'll call our budget committee meeting to order at 6:53. I have Lorraine.
Okay.
All right. We do have, all right, so introductions real quick.
Would you like to start?
Tyler
Eaton.
Tyler start this time.
Tyler Eaton, Select Board.
Tom LeVay, Transportation Committee.
Thomas McKevich.
John Decker, Vice Chair.
Robert Kelly.
Sandra Jones.
And we do have a few people on, well, actually just one. Who's there? Michael, are you still there?
I am, yes.
All right. So Michael's there via Zoom. And nobody else yet, but it's going to take 15 minutes or so.
Is Michelle coming or no?
I sent her a text, and I have not heard back from her. Hopefully she can make it. So, okay. All right. So on our, all right, first thing on our agenda, I believe, are some minutes. Let me back up. So we have 2 sets of minutes we can approve. Hold on, see if I can connect. Minutes. Okay. So do I have a motion for minute acceptance?
Seconded.
Alright. So which one?
For minutes.
Both? So,
Sure.
alright, any, the 2 sets of minutes where I was trying to find the dates here.
1-4 and 1-6.
1, okay. Any comments on those?
Seconded?
I did.
Thomas? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, we're done with minutes. Come on. Oh, here's the agenda anyway. Perfect. All right, so we don't have the 11 because they weren't done yet because of they're recorded. All right, so cross that out. Any, I doubt any committees met since Tuesday. So we can skip that. And then we could just wait until, so we can make a motion to, is there any business before us before we, I don't know, probably not. We can adjourn as a regular meeting and then go on that hearing. I kind of, I wanted to do that just in case something else came up afterwards.
Great.
Oh.
You want a motion to recess?
Sure, that'd be
Alright,
great.
I'll move to recess the budget committee meeting until the end of the public hearing.
All right,
Second.
all right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nobody's opposed. Okay, great.
4 minutes.
All right, okay. All right, so, all right, one thing, we have Zoom, either you gotta wear a face covering, or go back to home and you could dial in with Zoom or whatever, or
Okay.
go to another room and dial in.
That's fine. I will go get a face covering.
Okay,
Alright.
all right, so we got a couple minutes.
I guess before we start, I just have a question about Article 24. It seems that this is on the wrong warrant, as it refers to what the school board is going to do, and I don't know that the town has authority to direct the school to be doing anything, because they're 2 separate entities.
So I can discuss that for a second. So I wrote that, and I just look at the wording that I put on there, so I wasn't sure, I couldn't really find good information about how you do a warrant article petition for a school ballot. I saw conflicting things, so I believe when I submitted it.
Because my understanding is that the town and the school are completely separate governing bodies. The town the citizens pay taxes to both support the school district and to support the municipal, but this would be fine to cover contracts if any of the library or the town workers or the road workers became unionized, then that would work for them, but I don't see how we can, as the municipal board, be directing the school board as to what to do.
Well, Sandra, I consulted the New Hampshire Municipal Association's website, and they said that you can petition for school stuff as well. The same petition process where you get 25 or more eligible signatures. And when I wrote it, I just wrote that, by petition of 24 or more eligible voters of the town of Nottingham, the Board of Selectmen shall include the following warrant article on the 2020 town or school ballot. I agree, it probably makes more sense to put it on the school ballot.
I think it's more
but it really
enforceable
wasn't
on the school
clear how
ballot.
it works.
I don't know that
Well,
it's particularly enforceable on this ballot.
Your thing said to put it on the town or school ballot?
I said either one.
Okay, so, I mean, and I guess,
We don't vote on,
I-
articles that are not appropriations, so it really doesn't
right,
matter.
it
Well, I
doesn't
know,
matter
that's
to
why
us.
I'm just bringing it up at this
Yeah,
point.
but, I mean, he did his due diligence to put it on the correct one. Whether or not it ended up on the correct one or not is kind of a different situation, and that's like something that New Hampshire Municipal Association should be consulted on.
Okay, I just,
Sandra, if you have a problem with it, I would just talk to the school's lawyer, and they can move it over to the correct ballot. It doesn't really matter, because we're all gonna vote on it at the same day. It'll just be on one piece of paper or the other.
on one ballot, it would be more enforceable than the other.
It sounds like it to me, it sounds like it would belong on the school one, I agree.
Well, Sandra, if you
But-
think it's more enforceable on the school ballot, then I'll call up and I'll see if I can get it moved over to the school ballot, if that would make you happy. I
mean,
know how
it-
much you want it to pass.
It
so.
sounded like you submitted it appropriately.
Yeah. I did my research, and I really couldn't find a lot of specifics on it.
You don't know why.
No, okay. All right, it's 7:00. No, nobody else joined yet. I don't know how long it takes,
Do you have to add people, or is it open
Yes, you
meeting?
have to ask people.
will it pop up or something? Lorraine, that I could see from here?
Yeah, I guess it'll pop. Two participants?
There's two. It would be the one, that computer there called something else, transparency or something.
Yeah, maybe it would pop up in the
Maybe, if my eyes were better.
I can't read what the red box.
I don't know what that red box
If
says.
it's in, it'll go in the waiting room.
Right, they should go into a waiting room, yeah, kind of thing, but it's,
But I'm wondering if somebody's in the waiting.
I don't know, you just looked, so if you saw,
Oh,
somebody's here,
somebody's
somebody's
connecting
coming in now, so.
That's Tony. That says Tony.
It could've been
Great, so.
moved to
Recording
copy.
in progress.
Well, that's a good thing too, because it'll actually record here.
That looks like it's gonna make a better video than the other camera.
Actually, if you could leave it like that, maybe we could see if somebody pops into the waiting room a little better.
Okay.
All right, well, hopefully I do this a little better than last Tuesday. All right, so do we wanna wait a few minutes yet for, what's his name to get there? He said it would take him a few minutes. He could stall a little, I told him.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, yeah. I said I would stall a bit. I don't want to stall too long. All right, we'll
Well, if
just
you're gonna
start,
read
right,
the article, you
right,
can
yeah,
go
okay,
ahead and
all right, we'll start. All right, so let's open the hearing of the, Nottingham budget we'll go through the articles and, have public comment on them. And then we'll close the public session, or the public comment section, and then review each one independently and make our recommendations. So Article 1 is basically to choose a ballot of all necessary town officers for the ensuing year, so there's nothing financial there that we need to worry about, so we'll skip that. Article 2, are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 01 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Nottingham zoning ordinance as follows? Adopt a new definition and methodology for measuring building height. The zoning amendment includes 2 additional related definitions, and again, that is not a budget item, so we can skip that.
Skip 3.
Looks like we can skip 3 also, which says, Article 3, are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 03 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Nottingham zoning ordinance as follows? Adopt new setbacks for driveway and new definition for driveway and common driveway. A driveway to a single lot shall be set back 10 feet from any property line. Okay, Article 4. All right, this is the one that matters. Shall the town raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $4,429,199. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $4,214,137, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13 X and XVII to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. The estimated tax impact is $2.90.2 per thousand of property validation. Select board recommends this appropriation 4-0. All right, so we have a secondary handout here from the selectmen. So I don't know if there's anybody from the select board that wants to go through this, or are we just gonna go through it ourselves, or?
I think everybody's here, that if you wanna talk to department heads, they're all here,
Right,
if you wanna.
so, which is great that we could ask if they have questions, but I didn't know, if you guys wanted to go through this, just, basically, or do you want me to kind of work through it?
If Tyler could go through and tell us what's changed, that would be.
Right, what's changed since last time, since we saw it?
Well, since the last time that we kinda talked about it, I said the fire chief, we had, let me get to it first here.
Excuse me, John,
Yeah, Michael?
is there an electronic version of that someplace?
Yeah, they sent it to you. I think.
It was emailed earlier today, no, there was a later one today. Oh, actually, maybe the budget was yesterday. And it only included the new warrant articles today. It was either today or
No,
yesterday.
I've seen the budget
The warrant
today.
articles and I've got the budget for yesterday. Is there something else that they were referring to?
No, the budget should be the same one as yesterday.
Okay, thank you.
So the merit pool, looks like the merit pool went down.
if you look at, look at item 215, fire, vehicle maintenance. We had taken money away from that. And upon the chief coming in and explaining why he needed, the amount.
Which line are you on, Tyler, sorry?
215.
So 215,
Yeah, and, he had explained the importance of the money that was in his budget. We did give that, the full amount back. The 15,000, the budget.
okay.
And then if you look at the, 218, and that's the, radio maintenance. That was the same. He explained the importance of, maintaining the radios, communications, and that was also put back to its original number. That's the only two things that we've changed since.
Those, both of those look like they're the same as what you originally proposed to us.
Yeah, I think the last version we had, I had a December 7th date, if it was not this,
Yeah, that's what
this
I'm.
version, so it's been a month since. we
Yeah,
saw
no,
it.
there was one that was emailed out, I don't know, I wanna say,
But we didn't go through that
Right, we
section
didn't
by
go
section.
through that section
Yeah.
by section, so,
I think we should do the.
yeah,
section.
so, all right. So I was kind of going through, and so the first thing I see is line 4 changed from 77,714 down to 75,219. I don't know
What
if
is that anyways, a merit pool?
that's,
that's the workers, the merit, I mean, it's a merit-based system. They
Raises that
for
can be
raises.
distributed around as necessary.
right, it's like the money set aside for raises across all the,
Equally?
and then, no, not equally, so that they could actually do a real merit raise to people, so it's like this much money set aside, and then they could figure out who gets what.
The last
So
page,
it's merit-based.
the last page has a breakout of who got what,
Last year,
what they're going to get, I guess. This last page. Talks about the merit pool, on the very last page. First time we've seen that.
True or false?
You know, there's money next to it.
Oh, it is?
oh,
Or is that just 5% or whatever the other number is?
Not sure I understand the percents, but
all right, so the next change I see is, Tuckaway Lake Advisory, so that was at 8,000, you guys kicked it down to 5.
Yep, yes.
So what was the reasoning behind that?
I believe, they had talked to somebody from the BLIA and told them that, we were gonna reduce it because there's also a warrant article to raise money for
So,
the.
right, 'cause so the money could be, if necessary, the money could still be expended from the warrant part,
Yes, yes.
the reserve fund, okay. Yep, just confirming. Yep. All right, next page. I guess I should look at the total and see if the total's changed. It's probably the quickest way. Town clerk didn't change. Election department, so election department went down quite a bit. So postage went down in elections. Printing went down.
John, do you see the notes on the far right where it's reduced? Is that,
Yeah, that's for
that's like a
our,
little shortcut, reduced by 7,000?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Oh, yeah, I didn't, yep, that's,
Okay.
well, it's not completely right, though.
Okay.
anything that you see to the right there was,
It looks like equipment they
yeah, they
completely
were,
took out.
they were looking for a new ballot machine, and the select board voted no.
Oh, okay, that's a good thing. I'm glad that's gone. That scared me.
What, electronic one?
The ballot machine,
Oh, yeah.
the counter,
Oh, we hand count them also.
we usually end up hand counting a lot of times, yeah.
Transparency.
But it's nice to get a result that night.
Yeah.
So this print, so that printing went down, okay, sorry, get down. Okay. Anything else there? All right. So skipping down to AS mapping. That was reduced from 6,000 to 5,000.
What number is that?
Sorry, it's 79.
I don't know what that's called, actually.
Is that like the website that you can go on and look at the tax maps?
I think it might have been the. Maybe for 911, I'm not sure. It's just something that they were doing in town, getting some of the, we have, streets that aren't actually the right names or something like that, I believe. I don't know if anybody, Donna, anybody knows, I don't know, usually Chris is here to do this, but I'm not really sure. Maybe Ben will come back. But I don't know what the, I don't wanna give you the wrong
I
information.
seem to remember it had something to do with engineering, weren't they looking at roads or?
That's
or-
assessments. It's
Yeah.
under the assessment section,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, the only thing I can think is there's the website where you can like look at tax maps and that type of thing.
But they, I mean, like I said, I know we had, it was something to do with our, 911 to get all the, make sure all the addresses were
right,
correct.
right, but didn't we had a warrant article for, yeah, Donna,
Betsy can, explain it.
okay.
The mapping is the big maps that we have going on, with all the lots, as well as the online mapping that's available to the public.
Okay, so there was, the reduction was because you decided to cut back, or?
So I think some of it, John, was going through and looking at what the budget in the previous year was versus what
What
was
was
spent.
spent.
Yep.
And just, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't think all of this was scientific, it was just kind of like looking at what the historical trend has been and where we could start pulling out the budget.
Right, and I know that when we went through this the first time, that there was, it seemed like a lot of the accounting was behind, so,
Yeah, I mean, everything here is current.
okay, that's, so it looks like. So yeah, if we only spent like 2,400 last year, dropping it to 5,000 is even twice what we spent previously.
Are these actuals, final numbers?
No, they're not.
They're not?
Still getting bills in.
Okay.
All right, next thing. Reduced by, so it looks like line 101, dues, PD dues and conferences. Basically, that's been set back to $1. Looks like it wasn't spent last year, 20 bucks the year before, so seems easy enough to absorb. next line change is,
I have one question.
sorry,
Line item 104. In 2020, you spent $39.50. This year, you spent $84.88. But yet, you only budget $2,500.
Yeah.
So you've overspent twice in the last 2 years. So is 2,500, a reasonable number, I guess.
that's planning board advertising, so,
Anybody want to talk to that? Or?
they probably have to do specific, things in the paper.
Notices, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, I think it's
Right,
under
no,
budgeted.
yeah, no, if it's,
There were a lot this year, so that's what drove them up. So it is for whatever hearings are coming up and all of that. They have to probably notice it.
And they do have offsetting revenues, right? Some do.
It's usually associated with like a permit or something, right? Or an application? Yeah.
And like there are certified letters sent out every time
Right.
Yeah.
there's a subdivision, all the abutters need a certified letter.
Do you wanna check that, Lorraine? I think we may have people on the way there.
Usually the person doing the application supplies the postage for that, though, as far as I know.
Thank you. Right, that's what I thought too, it's like there's revenues associated with those. So, I wouldn't worry about it too much with the offsetting revenues.
Okay. It just looked weird, that's all.
Yep, no, that's a good catch, I think.
So going back, the health insurance went from an increase to a decrease on 86.
$270.
So your health insurance premiums dropped?
No, I mean, I think if you look, there was a credit, and it will go back up,
Okay, so the credit is included.
yes.
So that because they eliminated the fire positions, that's why it dropped.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Yep. All right, sorry. Anything else before, probably should stop at each section, right?
So the retirement must be different too. Line 93 dropped too.
Yep. So going by these line numbers is not necessarily the best thing. For these changes. And those look like probably the changes in between are probably not reflected, you know? Okay. Is that all the changes on personnel that you noticed? No?
Just Medicare dropped slightly.
Sorry?
So Medicare and FICA also dropped
Yeah,
slightly.
right, that would make, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, planning board department, we have 53,753. So that was reduced, but, so that must be that 715.49, sorry, for the dues and conferences. Okay, so that makes sense because it's not used. Zoning board. Previously it was 3801, it's still 3801. Right, town hall, office, or other buildings, whatever that is. So first, there's change here on salary maintenance. So it was, dropped by $1,000. Looks like it was not used last year, $30 the year before.
Is that the one where you're trying to hire just a general handyman or something?
Yeah, we had been trying to hire a handyman for a while
So
and
it wasn't used because they couldn't find anybody.
never could find anybody.
Yeah, so you just didn't have enough, you just didn't use any maintenance really at all?
Right.
Okay. Line 130 was 2,500. It's down to 1,000. That's also maintenance.
That's another one that seems too low, based on spending habits the last 2 years.
Now that's the old town hall building, right? And then we have an RFP for that.
Plus their
So-
RFP and it's being redone, so it should take the
So-
costs.
Do you, yeah, I mean, basically, do you anticipate maintenance? I mean, is in there that maybe a little if we have to.
Maybe a little, yeah, maybe a little, but it should be less, but it's all gonna be redone, so.
Right. New fire station, building maintenance. That was 75, it's down to 65. It looks like there was less than 5 spent last year, around 3 the year before. Any maintenance projects going on that you know of? Chief? Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't know if you knew, if you had anything that you guys needed to do maintenance wise.
So is 132 fire department building maintenance, that's the old fire department building, and that's just kind of a placeholder dollar, so that they can keep the line there?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it just mothballed, no one uses it for anything?
Well, they get used for some storage and stuff like that, yeah.
All right, so that should be everything in buildings. The cemeteries. Cemeteries was dropped from 9,000 to 7,500. It looks like that's more in line with the spending last year of 6,450, and the previous year of 6,652.
Tyler, where it says town hall old building dumpster on 155, is that a rental for a dumpster?
Yeah,
Does that include disposal costs, or are we just renting the dumpster?
I think they come and get it, I don't know if it's monthly or any dumpster that we have, they come get, and
Okay,
I don't know what they do, I know at my work they do it weekly, so I'm not sure
that's
how.
not something where we can like buy our own dumpster and save money over time?
It's possible, I don't know if we have the ability, I don't know, Sean, if he's here, do we have the ability to pick up our own dumpsters, or if we owned them, could we pick them up, bring them? Okay.
Alright, so, anything else before moving on? So there's no change in insurance for the Regional Planning Association.
The Regional Planning Association thing, we had talked about that in the previous meeting, so they've not spent any money on it, and they wanted to, I guess, become a full member of, what was this, the Rockingham County Planning Association or something like that?
Traffic.
And it sounded like the benefits was that we get to have a vote in
Yes,
some meetings.
That's correct.
And maybe have access to some services or something, but it sounds like at the current time, we can just buy those services à la carte. Do you guys have like a number for how much we've spent per year on those services à la carte?
Looks like last year we didn't spend any money.
Yeah,
You know, that's why they had, said that, if they wanted to be, all in and have a, stronger voice or whatever, I guess join, they wanted to, but that's,
yeah, I mean, we just don't get anything from it, like, we're not getting any services from it,
right.
and any services that we do need, we can purchase à la carte, so it seems like we're just spending $6,000 so we can have a vote at some county planning meeting, which I'm sure if something is really affecting the town, we can go there and cause a ruckus anyways. I don't know if that's a great use of taxpayer money there.
Who would be the one to go and vote? Just taxpayers?
Somebody from the planning
No, a
board.
planning board
board.
member.
Make sure we'd have to take advantage of it.
So, sorry, I was looking,
I thought we had pulled that money back. So-
line 98 shows where we paid for, what is one of the subject fire plan?
The what?
That,
Line 98, that's where some of the services we paid for are reflected.
Do you know how much of that 28,000 would be saved if we were being a member?
No, no, no.
yeah. So you have to kind of look at those two together, sort of. So we're going up, yeah, to 28,000 there, plus another 6, whatever it was.
Yeah, I think I asked at the previous meeting about that, and they didn't really have any compelling, like, this would save us this much money type thing.
Yeah, I
More or less that they wanted to get
remember
from
us
it.
talking about that. Yeah, you would hope that if we're increasing the other one, this one would go down.
Between the two, you're looking at a budget of 34 and change,
392.
they're only spending 22.
Right, exactly, we're spending like, 23 or whatever, and we're asking for an extra 10.
Seems like we could make a change there.
Right, so we'll talk about that after, just take a note. Alright, I mean, if anybody has any questions as we go through stuff, just raise your hand or what, or, no. Sorry? Or,
Would like wait to open up?
well, I mean, if it's in an area that we're talking about, I'd rather them raise their hand now instead of us going back. So
I agree.
so if, as we go through this and you have a question, just raise your hand or whatever.
On the section we're talking about, right?
Right. What are we looking at? That was line, what line was that?
166 is where we left off.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, PD. So PD, it looks like there was a reduction on PD equipment, procured maintenance of $8,600. What was that about, Tyler?
Excuse me?
So, line 186 was reduced by $8,600 on the previous budget. That was, it's equipment stuff, or, I don't know. Is that Chief, you guys?
Yeah, that's accurate, yep.
Why was it reduced from the previous?
They took out the digital speed sign.
Yeah, the digital speed sign.
Okay, digital speed sign, so that should be crossed off the notes here then,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, John, in a lot of cases, the numbers were updated, but not the notes.
Yeah, and that's the easily forgotten, that's why we were asking the question. All right, so we removed the digital speed sign, that reduces $8,600. Okay. 2 lines down is the telephone? That's reduced by 2,500, because it's included in town hall.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's, okay.
Did the 177 PD training, did that change at all?
I don't have a note that it was changed.
Did you guys just buy the tasers? 'Cause they used to be a warrant article, but then,
No, the tasers that, with, money left over from this year, that's what we decided was to purchase the tasers.
and does that cover the training? Cause I think the warrant article covered training too.
Yeah, I think what,
Yeah, the warrant article covers the training too.
But since
But
we're
there
not
is
doing
no
the warrant
warrant
article
article
anymore, do you
anymore.
need to increase the training of
Well,
it?
they're two different lines. I mean, there's training that involves the tasers, but that money will affect that taser training part.
Okay,
But my training line affects all kinds of other training.
okay, I'm just making sure that you have money for taser training.
Well, it does include taser certs here in the notes, but I don't know if that's,
Just wording, I mean, it doesn't affect that line.
okay. Alright, next thing down is fire rescue, and looks like we have a few changes there. So I assume that's where the
It's the full-time
salaries and stuff got changed. Right,
and then part-time salary went up.
oops, I gotta look at the right, no, the right spot here. Alright, so salary stuff has changed. 157.7, yeah, sorry, 157.5, down to 134. Overtime stayed the same. Part-time went up from 55 to 78.6. Other stuff stayed the same, alright, that one. Training went down by $1,000. I guess that's, yeah, looks like they haven't been spending all that training anyway, so 54 last, 5,400 last year, 2,800 the year before.
9,000 might be too much.
Can I address that?
Yeah.
Reason being during COVID, facilities were closed down.
Yep, no, that makes sense. You all right with the 9,000 still in? What's that? You'd like to hear the rationale from 10 to 9?
I think that was selecting words.
Yeah. Anything from the selectmen?
Again, it was a process of going through the overall budget, trying to keep it at a reasonable increase and comparing, proposed against actuals for the past year and treating where we could without really making detrimental cuts.
Do we know where it was in 2019 before the pandemic? The actuals, I mean?
Probably not without digging up something.
Remember,
check the thing again? I see, looks like there's a new line.
Oh, Michelle's on there.
Michelle's on, I can't squint that good.
Yeah, I can't see.
I think Tony keeps going in and out. I don't know if it's actually Tony. Tony keeps going in and out.
Okay. Alright, I thought there was an extra
Oh, the
person.
actual.
He's the host, so he gets.
2015.
Yeah.
That's him.
That's why I think we decided to take 1,000 out of there.
He said that was a co-host, so.
They had, and I know the COVID.
It's a, yeah, this is the co-host, but Tony's.
Still there.
Keeps going in and out.
Alright, so, I mean, based on the previous 2 years, that seems reasonable. We know we're still in COVID. So,
Are the training facilities back open though?
yeah, it's difficult.
I'm surprised the vaccinations and physicals aren't covered by the health insurance. Oh, so this is for like the volunteer people? Gotcha. That makes sense.
Alright, which line here was reduced 500? The hydrant maintenance?
Yeah, I mean, again, when, Chief came in and, again, doing our best to, cut where we could and not really hurt any department. I think that was just, we took from there, and part of giving him the money back for the, vehicle maintenance and the radios.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the hydrants, it was 2678 2 years ago, but only 51 this past year, so I'm not sure if that's cyclical or if it's like.
Year before supplies were purchased and replaced in our building.
Uh-huh.
There are no hydrants that are planned to be replaced in just this year, or at the end of the recon, we'll see what we have for the other.
Yeah,
That was the painting, maintenance, just replacing the signs and any other collateral damage.
sure maintenance, sure winter does take a toll on them. Any questions on fire and rescue? Building inspector. So there's no changes in building inspector. Any questions in building inspector stuff? Emergency management was 4711, it's now 4211. The reduction was under EM equipment. That was reduced by $500.
That was a sign.
Well, that was the other part of the sign. Okay, I forgot that the sign was across multiple things. Then highway department. Highway department was.
They took out the additional one.
Okay. That's the only difference.
254, you know what, that one was right, in the highway /rec/ recycling center, they wanted to hire an individual for that.
we have a reduction.
260.
Right, 260, 260, yeah. So that's highway, hired equipment construction, reduction of 7,000. Anything there that we need to discuss? Just it kind of, that fits better, and it still seems high compared to the previous years. I don't know, Sean, was there anything that you guys were, why that?
I didn't get it, sir.
The hired equipment construction, was reduced by $7,000. The previous year spent was only $12,730, the year before that was only $17,165. Was there a reason that you're budgeting so much there?
Roadside mowing did not occur this year. Why you see it? That's also.
How much is that roughly? How much was that roughly?
That's, normally around $12,000.
Is it right? Did we do that the year before?
Yes.
Does the highway department maintain the town's fuel tank?
What?
Fuel tank?
No. Those are a temporary shutdown.
Is that due to this algae problem? I've got a sheet here in front of me that says that the town fuel tank has an algae problem that is treatable. But otherwise, the people have had to go to a gas station to get gas?
Yes. We're paying $6,000 a year down.
Does the tank's just mothballed at this point?
Correct. What they call temporary shutdown.
Is there plans to reopen it, or?
This time it's actually decommissioned.
Okay. Is that covered by the equipment maintenance?
No, that will be a capital improvement. There is a company called Avtech, researching the cost to do that along with a state grant.
Highway salt. That was reduced $3,000. Is that because last year's salt is lasting us longer than we expected?
No.
No?
Hope winter will be shorter.
Highway engineering consulting, reduced by 5,000. Again, it looks like we've, you know, we only spent 8,300 the year, last year, and 1,400 the year before that.
Yeah, but now we have all those new roads that we accepted.
Yeah.
The new money's gonna go towards those.
Yeah.
Like I said, it could change, so we're hoping, to, you know, to find out actually what we can spend, you know, some of the funds that we can use. And one of the things does say engineering, we need to see if we can use it on these. That could change everything.
Yeah.
So, we'll hope to find out here in, pretty soon. So a lot of things could change, I mean, if and when, you know, we find out exactly what we can use, we spend every penny if we can, you know.
All right, any other, any questions on highway department? Shim and seal coat looks the same, I believe. Recycling center. That went down a little bit also. I'll look for where it went down.
Like line 280 and 282, those are the lines we're on, John?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, sorry, right there on the side. So that's the testing,
What is testing?
is that the landfill testing, or?
Huh? There's a line for testing, there's
Yes,
15,000 for testing, that's for the old landfill?
yes, that's for the landfill and the PFAS testing that's going on that's associated with that.
I'm assuming that's all like mandated by the feds or something?
Correct.
Yep.
And the engineer prepared that for us.
Did we only spend 6,500 there this year, testing?
Always the big invoice, cause I think it's quarterly.
Probably. Semi-annually. It looks like the year before we spent 21,342. I wonder if maybe we paid early?
It depends on how many positive test results you get, how.
Right. Household hazardous waste was reduced by $1,000.
It looks like it just over budgeted each year.
Yep. Animal control. 4,500 stays the same.
With, before we get off animal control, did anyone from the public wanna address anything here? Cause I know I got an info sheet from some people outside, and there's some things on here. A lot of these have to do with recycling center stuff, so if someone wants to talk about any of that, this would probably be the best time and place to do it.
Really have anything to do with budget amounts though.
Well, make sure you state your name.
Deborah Kieran, no, recommend help.
Yeah, and come up to the
Yeah, I
mic.
recommend coming up, and unfortunately, since you gave this to me right out front, I haven't had time to read it all, so.
All right, I'm trying to look at your budget here and understand where this increase is here.
What's your name again?
Deborah Kiernan. This is my first time, so be patient with me. This information that I've gotten was checked out. Let's start off with the recycling, the oil, the gas tank. We just said something about allergy, $6,000 to clean it up. Is that what I heard correctly?
I heard that from him, I don't know anything about it.
Well, before that, we used to have our own gas tank there, and they used to fill up their vehicles, the highway department, correct? Why are we not going back to that? There's a savings there, and we have to pay more on the outside for the gas. Can you look at the difference between the $6,000 to have it fixed and the gas price? I mean, I'm sure there's still a saving
I
there.
thought we were gonna rent a tank.
Not for that, no, not for gas, there's some other tank that we were.
Are we able to, do the town vehicles, are they able to use like gas without paying road tax? Is that how we save money with our own tank?
I don't know, it's been there forever, I think.
We don't pay road tax? Oh, so we could be saving
A lot.
like 30-40 cents a gallon. We're
Absolutely.
essentially getting heating oil prices for diesel, right?
And the other thing is, I've heard that they don't crush the cans anymore, and they have the highway department taking them, they're not even crushed, so that right there is a waste. That's just a simple thing, you can stop crushing the cans, go back to that. I don't understand why they're not doing that.
Oh, there's probably a lot of human labor involved in doing it, and if you
I
gotta pay
still say
someone
it
to
would
crush
be,
it.
if you crush a can,
Yeah,
you
it
figure,
takes like
it's big savings there,
at least 1/5 of the space.
yeah. So that's another wastage.
Machine crashes them.
Yeah, But I think they had to like pick them up off the shelf and throw them in the machine. Maybe someone can get some sort of like manual crusher that can be outside over the bin.
Doing one at a time?
They actually have a shovel that they get them into.
Yeah.
Do you have a crusher there? Cause it used to be able to do that.
I don't know, Sean, do we ever, I thought they just used to run over them.
That would work.
How do they crush the cans?
We just put them into the container, we haul them to items, we get money for them every week.
But if they're crushed, you get more.
They should be, yeah.
Didn't we used to,
In a container.
So what happens with crushing, first of all, we've done something else, it's more hands-on, based on COVID and things, we're trying to minimize contact, and it makes it, so that people put the cans in the trailer themselves, and we don't have to handle them.
Do you know what the price difference, how much more money we would get per year if they were crushed?
it'd be the hauling.
It's
Yeah.
all by
And
the
pulling.
weights, so
Oh, so there's no difference in what you get at
it's
the,
always the same price, it's just how much.
just you don't have to haul it as tough.
They have to make more trips, let's put it that way. So
I wonder,
very
is
fast
there
back
like
and
a,
forth.
is there like a not particularly expensive, like, automatic crusher that can be mounted to the dumpster that people can just throw their own cans into and it crushes them as they go in?
I would have to look into.
That might be a solution that would make everybody happy and cut down on the.
Or how about we just tell the people before you dump them, how about you go home and crush them? How hard is that? I can start
You
doing
ask
that.
them.
Chair, is this about budget or?
That's,
Well, because
I,
we're trying to save money, right? So that's a budget, right? So each time you run back and forth with gas and all those things, and the tank and all those,
We're talking about
going here and there,
procedure
paying
more
more.
than.
for
right,
it.
right, but I mean, a lot,
Okay,
but,
highway department, and then contracting, I wanna know why we're contracting the snow blower, the people out
So,
snow.
Mr. Chair,
so let's try and keep it focused on budget things, budget
That is a
topics.
budget, correct?
Some of it's procedure. So it's a valid question, but let's focus on, so if you're proposing that we buy some kind of can crusher or something, that
It was
becomes a
done
budget
before,
item.
so how was it done before? My question is, how was it done
Right,
before?
and that's what I was trying to ask Sean, so Sean told us that they went hands-off because of COVID.
So we don't wear rubber gloves.
So, I think it's issues to bring to the Board of Selectmen,
Right.
like this committee
Right.
can't dictate what
We
the
don't
process
dictate
or
that stuff,
procedure
yeah,
is.
you'd have to bring a lot of that stuff to the Board of Selectmen.
Like, we wanna
probably.
buy a new machine.
Board of
take
Selectmen.
that to them.
Yeah,
There's so many things that,
so if it's
I don't have my health
specific
lights
to
with me.
money, then you're at the right place. If it's like procedure stuff, that's Board of Selectmen.
Right, well, the tank was the one thing that it can save
Yeah.
us money.
How
Let's
much
go
is
back
that
to
new
the.
fuel tank?
Right,
Yeah,
and
let's
that's-
go back to what it was, because I can remember, I was in here for 20-some odd years, and the taxes each year has gotten worse and worse. And I, honestly, 10% or 9%, what one person told me it was 9%. It keeps going up 9% almost every year. I don't know about anybody else, I can't keep doing 9%.
It's mostly the school, to be
Right.
fair. But do we have an idea how much diesel the town uses between all the different trucks and everything? Do we have an idea of how much diesel the town uses between all the
That's what I
different
wanna
trucks
know.
and stuff?
I don't have that readily available, winter dictates the consumption for the most part. So, and it's average, in a snowstorm, we can burn up to 800, 900 gallons. We do have a fuel tank, now, a fuel cell, 500 gallon storage tank, active kit. We are in a, safety sensitive place also with those tanks being so close to the river.
Is that that's for diesel?
We have some gasoline and diesel.
Oh, gas and
So
diesel.
at the pit, it's for diesel.
And another thing I like to bring up, and it helped a lot of people, why are we not recycling some of the stuff instead of paying it to go away? You know how many times I picked up
Most of-
furniture?
most of the-
Again, that's not
most of the
us.
materials people
That's
don't
not a
wanna buy
budget
anymore.
thing? It is a budget thing, because we gotta pay.
Why we're not recycling
Yeah,
has nothing to do with us. We can't dictate what they recycle.
It is actually a financial thing.
It's a-
excuse
it's
me,
a-
it is a financial thing.
It's a financial thing, we can say, yes.
But how
you
we're doing things is not here.
So,
Let's go back to the old way, because I benefit from people's throwing away the furniture and stuff like
I
that.
can't talk about procedure, but I can tell you that the reason most of the materials aren't being recycled is because the market dropped out. China
Right.
stopped buying recycled materials, and most of the things that we had been recycling are now just being thrown out or disposed or buried of. People don't wanna buy them, they don't wanna buy the recycled materials anymore. It only really financially makes sense to
I'm not even talking
recycle
about
metals at
recycled
this
things,
point.
like there used to be furniture and stuff like that
Yeah.
out there. I used to benefit from that, and other people used to benefit from that.
Well,
Instead of paying for it to be towed away.
Yeah.
And how many times I've taken from that?
Are
When
you
you see
talking
the warrant
about the, like,
articles, you'll have a chance to vote on being able to do that again, so.
Yeah, I have to read that because I don't understand.
But otherwise, I would
All right,
suggest that
so-
you take all these complaints to the Board of Selectmen at their next
Yep.
meeting. I think they meet on
Right.
Mondays.
Yep, there's a lot more stuff.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thanks.
All right, where are we?
We're on, animal control.
All right, animal control. There was no change in animal control. General assistance. No change there. I'm get on the right page now, sorry.
So if we didn't spend any money on any of these things in years, why are they still budgeted?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why, if these are zeros? Did we not get requests this year?
Can I answer that?
Yep.
Because the town, if somebody's in an emergency situation, our welfare coordinator is obligated to help out in certain situations, and he does not in there provide that. Just because nobody's come forward in one particular year doesn't mean that if somebody is in a crisis situation next year, that would
Right.
All right, sorry, I thought we were in the other, I thought we were looking at the next section already, but, okay, yeah, so, all right. No, yes, that's kind of what's been discussed previously, but, you know, you gotta keep something there.
Since a lot of this stuff here, whereas, I gotta give an example, where, what happens to the money, like, we put aside 3,217, and you only spent 2,000 of it. Where's that money going? Does it go
Goes
on to the next
unassigned
year?
Fund balance, and so that's what either gets returned to the taxpayers and doesn't get collected next year, or you'll notice a lot of these warrant articles, they'll say like, we wanna use money from the unassigned fund balance, and then it says there's no tax impact. It's actually spending the money that was unspent on other line items. It's kind of a little misleading when it says no tax impact, because if you don't vote for this, then that money will go back to the taxpayers that year.
I haven't seen any money come back to us in years, so I wouldn't know
Well,
that.
you don't get it,
They just
It just
feel
keeps
less
going
than
up.
next year.
basically, it's not like a refund to you, it just means that your December tax bill doesn't go as high as it would.
I don't know about you, but mine's gone up
But-
$600.
I'm not saying it's not going up, but if it was spent completely,
10%.
it would go up, it would go up more.
I just don't understand why it keeps going up 10% every
The
year.
school.
Huh?
The school is the major
been the
driver
priority.
of 95% of the
This-
tax increases in this
The
town.
school's
Okay.
proposed budget is a 1.8%
It's a
increase.
1.8%
So
increase,
for
but
the first
there's,
time-
Stop saying it's all the
They're-
school.
Let her speak. Let her speak.
their per pupil spending on their proposed budget is up 13%.
This was the topic 2 nights ago, and we don't need to waste time on something we've already spent
I'm
hours
just
on.
answering a question about the
Oh,
tax.
and you're
list.
answering it
Sounds perfect.
inaccurately.
All right, so
Hurley.
We're talking about the town.
Can I
We're
talk to you
talking-
personally,
we're talking about,
Mrs. Martin? Find out.
The school budget hearing was on Tuesday, and you're welcome to come to deliberative and find out about it, but we were here very late Tuesday night, and I don't think we need to waste time on
I'll go over all this at the school deliberative session, don't worry.
And when is that meeting?
it. February 8th,
Okay. Sure to see you. February 8th, what time? 7?
7 o'clock.
This is what I talk about when I say that people in the town are upset at the taxes going up every year.
And you're misrepresenting what the tax increase is.
I'm not, the cost per pupil is going up 13%
All right.
this year.
okay,
Let's
all right,
just-
let's
let's keep
get back
moving
to
on.
the town budget.
We'll be here all night again.
I don't wanna be here till 10:30, 11, 12, whatever. All right,
I can hang. I work midnight, so that's not fair. I can hang
Just
till
had
1.
breakfast.
all right, so
Robert's ready to
Tomorrow
go.
afternoon.
so the rest of general assistance, so the social services, I guess it's called. So it looks like we did have requests that came in, and they're probably all paid. Where is that? Oh, it's at the top, okay. 25, oh, 50, so no changes there.
I'm sorry, John, where are you now? What line?
Top is paid, line number 327,
Thank you.
the social services.
So there's no changes?
No change to social services.
Did we get forms in from everybody? The requests?
It looks like we must have because, well, maybe not. So Victims, Inc. and Red Cross didn't send anything apparently, and neither did Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
For the social services.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, she has all the forms.
For all of these? Including Victims Inc. and American Red Cross and Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Well, they didn't probably submit something, they didn't get any money.
They didn't get any money, Victims Inc. or Red Cross,
The funds that send us
and
and
Big Brother, yeah.
itemize how many people they provided services.
Okay.
And if you don't have the one from Ready Rise yet, that will be coming shortly.
Yeah, no, they had something,
Looks like they got it.
they got it.
Yeah. They got money last year, $1,500.
Yes, we did. And we will be sending out,
A new one for next year.
a new one for next year, and it will have all I guess ours always has all the detailed stuff that you need to have anyway, so.
Thank you.
All right. Next section is rec department. And looks like we got a couple reductions there.
No gate.
The line with no number, so it must be 333. Reduced by 1,000. What's that? Is that the no gate thing?
Yeah, the gate's gone.
Gate's gone, yep.
The gate is number 339 though, we're up at
Right.
333.
Does the town do the mowing for Marsden?
333.
Or is that contracted out?
Contract that out.
Is this, so there's a lot of mowing between the Marsden property, the different town buildings, and the landfill that needs to be mowed by federal law or something. Is the town looking at just buying a mower and just having one of our people go out and do it? 'Cause it sounds like we've got enough mowing to keep somebody pretty busy.
That is a huge cost with all the equipment, something that's probably a starting point of about $200,000 to get somebody set up for something like that. So this is right now the best option for what we have, and we don't have the depth to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just, you've got, 22,000 for that, and there's, I forget how much it is for the landfill, and then there's ones for all the other buildings, so, I mean, at some point, it makes sense for us to actually just buy a mower.
About 15,000 for commercial.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where it starts at.
yeah, I don't think 200,000 is necessary.
No, not 200,000, but 15,000 for a mower, then you're gonna need a trailer.
Yeah.
And you, the
Trailers.
RFP's out there now, right?
But
The RFP for
Yep.
getting pricing for it, it's out there now, due
it's
pretty
up
soon.
there until February 1st.
And have you looked with Rockingham County Corrections to see if you can use inmates for some of these maintenance and mowing things?
The last time I checked with them, they were not in operation because of COVID.
Okay,
And I am on the list to have them call me back.
great.
So hopefully we can get an answer soon, but I'm not sure if that's changed
Okay.
at this time.
All right, so line 334 went down by 1,000. That's porta potties?
Did you guys look into buying a porta potty?
I have not, no.
I think some of these ideas that we have should be forwarded to the selectmen,
Oh,
you know,
they're
honestly.
in the room, so,
Right, well,
Well, I'm just saying, that's the place to go with it.
yeah.
that's why they're part of the committee.
And I mean, I think with the porta potty, people that we use, if it's a town resident, that makes it very convenient to, need one if you don't, whatever, in and out, so. I
There's a
don't,
great relationship with that company.
No, well, we could still contract with them to suck the poop out of it every few weeks, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, no,
but
that's what
we
they-
can save on rentals. Cause if it's just gonna be parked down at Marsden Field all the time, then we might as well own it.
It's seasonal and it depends on different sport seasons and
Yeah,
So
but
we have a lot.
even in the winter, it'd be nice. I mean, we have things like the bonfire, you have events here at the town hall that might need overflow.
Beach Gate is gone, that's on line 339.
That's it.
This takes care of rec department. Any questions on rec department? Is that still good? It's like 5 people, is that right?
Michelle's in.
Michelle's in, is she in?
It looks like she's on mute.
They're all
Muted?
Oh. Oh, just no video then.
Unless you wanna speak, keep it muted.
I don't know how she got in.
Yeah, she's in. So, oh, you know what? If Tony's letting people in, that's good. Yeah, Tony probably let her in.
lifeguards have been moved into rec revolving fund, and we haven't been able to staff lifeguards in a couple of years.
All right. Moving on to library then?
So down 2,000 on line,
Yeah.
346.
My
I think-
understanding was that they had approved the full-time position, the extra hours that we needed, and we said we would make the cut work, figure it out.
Are you guys keeping the same hours, or did you look into cutting off the least used hour of the day?
They would be in middle of the day type of things.
No, I mean the whole library opening time.
Yes, I know, but our least used hours
Yeah.
are very erratic. So I know that you had mentioned checking the Google Trends. It was brought up that, for a lot of our children's programming, we might have a handful of adults in, but a lot of kids, so they're not all gonna have cell phones.
Do you
those
generally
kind of-
have children's things at the opening hour, the earliest hour of the day?
Yes,
Okay.
10 a.m., yeah, that's when we have our babies and toddlers programs, yes.
Is there, I know you said there were some safety issues with the sidewalks and
Yes.
some maintenance issues. Are those, is there any money in here to be addressed this year, or?
So there is a library maintenance line that is in the general kind of town maintenance. And that is, I think, it's around $2,000. I'm pretty sure that we'll close all of that, with the maintenance issues that we have. And we also have some maintenance, inside the library, and we might be able to take care of some of the issues. We will not get through the entire list, but, as I said, we're triaging that.
Okay.
Are you sticking around for discussion on the warrant articles?
I am.
Okay.
So that's library. Historical Society.
They just shut down all last year because of COVID? Didn't spend anything?
Bucks, 500 bucks total. Still budgeted.
Conservation.
Yeah, I don't even know if they had any hours at all or whatever, did they? All right, so Conservation Commission. Oh, any questions on historical before we move off of that? Okay. Conservation Commission,
Look good.
199. Okay, yep, that stayed the same. And debt service, that's debt service, so that probably stayed the same because we didn't pay anything off.
So the Mulligan easement principal and the Mulligan interest lines, if the associated warrant articles for those pass, same thing with the fire stations, then they'd have no spending essentially, right?
Yep.
Well, there would probably be a little bit for the beginning of the year until it was actually paid off.
When does this, what is this budget?
Because that, well, that's,
Started already.
it already started. We're already in this budget.
Oh, okay.
So we'll vote in March or whatever, and
So they wouldn't zero out,
they wouldn't zero out, but they'll go down
it'd be like
significantly.
25% what they have.
All right, any questions on the actual budget stuff?
why it sounds pretty good then, right? Wasn't it 10% earlier?
It was originally
Like 9.8, but then it went up like
9.7,
Didn't go up like 10 point something,
If you went,
maybe did at one point,
and it's
but,
down to what, 4.9?
4.9.
it's down to 4.9, yes.
it's your previous one.
So that's
Huge.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has the Board of Selectmen talked about adding the fire positions in a later year? Is there a plan to address that?
There's a warrant article to address it,
This is a warrant.
yeah.
So that takes care of Article 4.
Hey, John?
Yes, Michael?
Michael here.
Yep, thank you. Can you hear us?
I had a question about the debt service total. I know there's warrant articles for the Boulder property and the fire station loan, both principal and interest. If those warrant articles pass, we've still got money here in these budget lines. Are those warrant articles priced so that they anticipate, using what's in the budget line as well as what they will recoup from the general fund?
Did I?
I think he's asking if
Yeah.
the warrant article takes into account
Right.
also spending those amounts, or will those amounts all go away? They're both principal and interest.
Right. I don't know what the, does anybody from the select board know the answer to that?
No, I thought we were paying, like I said, what was owed, not anything to do with it.
When I did it, I just looked at the outstanding balance on these things for how much it would take to pay off. My guess is that since it would happen in March, there'd be 3 more months of principal paid off, so it might be a slightly lower number that's needed. But these payments are not all made at one point, they're made every month, so I imagine once the article passes, stuff gets paid off and then you don't pay these
Right,
anymore.
right, yeah, but, right, so what, the question was, does the amounts here reflect this, you know, basically take out what's there? All right, Betsy, you have an answer?
The principal payments that are on the budget stay there.
Yeah,
In the warrant article is less those two payments.
all right, that was Michael's question, great, thank you.
Did you hear that, Michael?
What I heard was that there was consideration in the warrant article for that budget amount.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, that's my answer, thank you.
That's your answer, you're sticking to it?
I'm good.
Anything else on Article 4 before moving on to the next? All right, Article 5, shall the town vote to add full-time personnel to the fire department, which calls for salary and benefits for the fiscal year 2023 of $302,544, and further to raise and appropriate $100,848 for the current fiscal year. Such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increase in salary and benefits. The estimated tax impact is is 12.4 cents per thousand of property validation, and that, I assume, is for the 2022 year, not the 2023 year. Does anybody have that? Yes, that's correct. So that's about a third of it, so it'd be about 37.5 cents the following year.
That's confusing. I wonder if that
Yeah, that's,
impact is for both years? Or if it's-
No, that's just for the 1 year.
Well, because if you raise and appropriate the 300, then you wouldn't put that in the operating budget.
Yeah, so you're not actually raising and appropriating the, so shall the town vote to add full-time personnel to the fire
That's what
department,
only raising
which
and
calls for salary and benefits for the fiscal year And further to, so you're only raising appropriate the 100,000. So, and I guess it's meant to call out that this is going to cost you more the following year, next year. Yes, who's first? All right,
Is this the selectman product, this warrant article?
Yeah.
It was written by the selectman?
Yeah, so John, essentially what it is doing is, it essentially is getting us to the current year and the next year,
right,
right? So the tax impact is for this year.
right, and that's what I understand, and that's why it says raise and appropriate the 100,848 versus, but it's going to cost you 302,544 the following year. Right, it's committing that, it's committing it to the 2023 budget, but we're only raising it appropriate, because, which is
This year.
proper.
Correct,
Right.
we're only raising the appropriate the 100,000 this year, but it is a commitment for the next year, because you don't want to
Right,
hire
exactly.
people for a third year.
Right.
Yeah, I like the way it was written, because it has the actual, like, tax impact for a whole year, well, not tax impact, but it has the total amount for a year, versus if you're making this change halfway through a year, it looks like it only costs half what it does.
Right.
I get what we're going for here.
I feel like it's a little,
Majority vote required, or is
I believe it's only a majority,
it's not stated?
because,
Yeah, I think it should say so.
does it have to say?
It's weird that all the later ones do, but none of the earlier ones do.
I think all of them should state what's required to pass.
Yeah, that makes sense that it would state, to be consistent.
Here's the way it's written, is that it's making appropriations for more than 1 year, which may drive it to the interpretation. I'm not the expert.
Right, no,
That's a DRA question, right? Are these words?
have they've been through DRA already, They have? Yeah, it would probably be helpful to add that little snippet in there, like everything else, just majority vote required.
now does this item include, what's the tax impact for, cause that 12.4 cents per thousand is tax impact for 2022, but it doesn't say what tax impact for 2023 will be, is that correct?
So you're required to put the tax impact for the next year? You're not required to put the tax impact for future years, but I have not seen any restriction that says you can't do that.
It seems like, it
They
feels a
do
little
this-
misleading, does it?
Yeah.
Because then in 2023, we're gonna be paying approximately 3 times that 12.4%,
Yeah, and
so
like if you look
basically
at the-
36%.
If you look at the school budget, for the bond here, and it does say like in the future, this will cost more on different years, so.
If this passes, doesn't that 302,000 end up in the 2023
It ends up in the
budget?
regular budget.
Oh, it ends up in the budget, but that's the tax impact remains.
Right,
Okay.
there's still tax impact for it, yeah.
Right.
But
So it's
it ends,
about-
that's where it lands, it just moves from here into the regular budget.
Okay.
So I would say that we suggest that we have the estimated tax impact for 2023 and
Yes,
forward
and-
is, it would be like
36 or
34,
37.
whatever
What-
number you calculated.
Would that be possible, Donna, maybe
I'm
to?
sorry, I didn't know, sorry.
Maybe like in parentheses, after the 302,544, do like an estimated,
Cost per
tax
thousand.
impact for future.
I think it would make the most sense to put it at the very end where it says the estimated tax impact is 0.124 per thousand of property valuation. And then after that, right, and then in the next year and going forward, that it would be, 0.34 or whatever John calculated.
Let me look at it.
Okay.
All right, I'll investigate that.
Yeah.
Is this in concrete, or is this subject to change? The wording in here, is
So we can't change it tonight, but at deliberative, it can be changed.
Right.
it doesn't clearly say on the personnel.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was gonna ask too, it didn't say how many personnel.
That would be helpful,
Again, I think
actually.
that that's something that we can look at whether or not we want to change that.
Right, the selectmen have some authority yet to change wording. We don't have the authority to change wording until the deliberative session. But you have to be careful on the authority to change the wording because you can't change intent. So,
You done?
yes, Michael.
It gets a little bit complicated in this particular case because expect that with a full-time staff, they would have less overtime and part-time expenses. So those would be a change to subsequent year budgets that would complicate the projection of tax impact.
Well, I'll say at least for the estimated tax impact for the next year, you wouldn't put that in there.
Right, cause
That's
that's,
state mandated
That's right.
stuff.
yeah. But yes, in reality, that would drive those numbers down, hopefully.
Right.
Okay, all right, so you guys have some
And-
homework to do on that.
Right, how many full-time personnel are we talking about?
Right, 3.
I think that should be on there as well.
That should be on
Right,
there, you're
right, that was what Chief,
It's,
3.
It might be helpful to write
right.
maybe how many currently are there. Change from like 3 to 6 or, yeah. Maybe it could say to add 3 to the current, or double it, I don't know. Cause I don't think most people know how many full-time firefighters we have in town. I didn't until
I didn't.
we got talking about this.
right, selectmen have some homework, so, okay.
6.
Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $300,000 for highway reconstruction and maintenance work on Case Road, Oak Ridge, and Flutter Street, or other roads in Nottingham if priority arises. This is a non-lapsing appropriation for RSA 32:7 VI and will not lapse until the work is complete or not later than 1 year after the end of fiscal year 2022, whichever occurs earlier. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 37 cents per thousand property validation. This is pretty much a standard,
I have a question.
yep,
Isn't Oak Ridge the new development that was just built?
It's Maple Ridge, isn't it?
Is it Maple? I thought it was Oak.
different tree.
Maple Ridge, I know it's up off of, if you take Case Road, I mean,
Oh,
you get to
okay,
Maple, but you go down the other
Okay.
older road, I think that's Oak Ridge.
Right, so, and that's the same amount we normally do, I believe. Just the roads changed. Any questions there? Other questions? All right. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the highway truck capital reserve fund previously established. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 12.3 cents per thousand of property validation. Any questions on that one?
So I heard that there was some changes to the select board recommendations for this one, that it was 2-2, and now it's 1-4 and 3 against. I don't know, Ben Bartlett's not here, so I don't know.
You can't change the recommendations after the vote.
Okay,
Right.
you guys can't go amend that, but it did sound like there was a move to not recommend this one. I'm sure people will speak at deliberative.
Yeah, right, that can't change, but people will have to talk about that at the,
I'm just curious
Yeah,
why
deliberative.
and what the reasonings is behind whether we want to or not. Is it that we have more vehicles than people, or?
I don't know, this is just the capital reserve fund too, so it's not buying a vehicle at this point. Right, this is pretty standard stuff.
I mean, is the plan to use the money out of it soon or something?
It gets used pretty regularly.
Yeah.
I thought we already bought a truck though, right, Jim, or something?
I think it was approved on a warrant article, but I don't know if they actually bought it or not.
Oh.
But we're waiting on a dump truck, I believe, to be delivered, huh? John?
All right,
Yeah, we're still waiting on that. That's not gonna be here till September. Build date of April 28th of this year.
Everything's slow.
Yeah. You get one.
all right, Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the fire vehicle SCBA capital reserve fund previously established, majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 12.3 cents per thousand. All right, right, this one's standard as well. This one's for the fire equipment. Any questions on that one?
I feel like I've asked this in previous years. Is there a reason that this is just not rolled into the budget since it's done every year with the same amount?
I don't think you can do that with, as a budget item to move it into the capital reserve.
Because it's not purchased each year?
It's not, right, it's just it's like a savings account,
Okay.
so. I believe,
It just seems like they're always gonna need breathing apparatuses, so it
right,
should just be
and,
budgeted.
well, that, I mean, some of the breathing apparatus stuff is is someplace else, right?
Yeah, this covers the replacement period out here, I believe it's 50, required, we just purchased the next. That doesn't,
Capital has a
the
line.
line of the operating budget covers maintenance, repair, blood, annual testing. This covers replacement of the system.
You just replace them all at once? Okay. Would it be something to move to just replacing one each year or something?
That would turn into, yeah, the kind of a, that covers.
Gotcha.
Because what goes with not only the apparatus, but also goes the hydrostatic testing with the tanks, which is a 5-year, so we end up in a continuous testing cycle. Every year we test one system.
Right, cause I know it's a warrant article every year and it always passes, 99% of the vote, so it just seems like something that could be rolled into the budget, but, okay.
All right, Article 9, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $37,000 for the purchase of dashboard cameras for the Nottingham Police Department cruisers. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 4.6 cents per thousand of property validation. And this was the dashboard cameras, not the body cams.
And this covers all the data stuff as well, the data handling and archiving and all that stuff, which I almost think it should be in here just to tell people, cause it does sound kind of expensive, but when you factor in that you're getting all the data services and cloud services and all that stuff.
Any questions on this one, Article 9? Okay, moving on, Article 10. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $37,000 for the purchase of a replacement handicapped lift for the Nottingham Public Library. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 4.6 cents per thousand of property validation.
You wanna?
I'll go ahead and, can I speak to this?
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
Jennifer Phillips, I am the chair of the Library Board of Trustees at the Blaisdell Memorial Library. The lift that is in the library, the handicap lift, is original to the renovation in 2000. So it's about 21 years old. And about 6 years ago, we either failed our inspection or almost failed our inspection. Found at the time that it was incredibly difficult to get replacement parts, but our director at the time was able to find them by doing a Google search and translating from German, and he really went out of his way to figure out how to get those replacement parts. It was repaired. Since that time, we have had at least 2 instances where the library lift has gotten stuck, once with someone in it. And I have become increasingly concerned that it's going to fail at an inopportune time. And it's beyond its anticipated life at this point. The costs keep increasing. We originally did a quote to get it replaced 5 years ago. At that time, it was $25,000. Since that time, they came out to do an updated quote and found that one of the fire doors is now failing, so.
So I've only been in the library once,
Mhm.
and I don't remember, where does the lift go?
It goes
Or building?
between the 2 floors. It's standard handicap
Is there
lift.
any other way to access the other floor?
Not inside the library, you'd have to go
Outside.
outside.
But there is another way to get to it. That doesn't include stairs?
Is there a walk?
well,
Is there a paved walkway on?
Yeah, cause I
It's-
thought you said at the other meeting when we were talking about walkways and stuff, that there was a walkway that goes around and then the walkway goes, like a ramp goes to the other part of the
There is,
building.
okay, so there is a wheelchair ramp that goes up the side of the building, and it comes in a side door. That's an exterior, yes, from like the parking lot area into the upper floor. Then there is the ramp, or the lift that takes you from the top floor, the ground level floor to the bottom floor. It's, make sense?
Right,
Eh,
yeah.
okay. And then we have an emergency door out, that leads outside the children's room, which is the bottom level, and goes around the front. That's an emergency exit, that's not a
Emergency exit.
handicapped. So that's the one that needs repair because it's kind of uneven and covered with moss and slick when it's.
And you
wet.
requested money to maintain that or fix that, right?
That's on the list of things to
Oh, okay.
maintain.
So that-
It's not a priority item.
So how much
This is-
how much would it cost to convert the emergency door to something that can be used for handicap? Like, can you install one of those buttons that opens the door automatically?
Then it becomes
Okay, we're
another
talking
s-
about two different things. This is an interior lift that takes people from the first floor down to
I
the
know.
second floor.
You don't
Yeah.
wanna send people out,
In the wintertime to,
and
you're
out,
not-
and then around to go back inside. You don't wanna do
How
that.
often does the lift get used?
Quite frequently.
Okay.
We call it a handicap lift, but it's anyone who cannot use the stairs lift,
Do
really.
you have an estimate for how often it gets used?
I do not.
Ballpark?
We don't track who goes in and out of the lift. I just know that
100
it's.
times a day?
And
We
whatever,
don't
it's
have
still.
200 people going up and down the
Total ballpark,
lift,
does it
but,
get used every day?
sounds like.
yeah, I mean, it probably gets used every day. I do know that women with baby carriages use it too,
Okay,
because they can't take those up and down the
Right.
steps. I mean, it gets used.
so it gets used a lot and, and it's failed twice,
It's gotten stuck twice.
gotten stuck twice. How long does it take to clear being stuck?
Well, the director prior, was actually clearing up after, a program, and she got stuck in there after hours.
Is she handicapped?
She was moving heavy equipment alone, so she was
Is
using
that
the
an
lift.
is that an approved use of a handicap lift?
I'm not here to
Equipment.
litigate prior director's use
Doesn't
of the
sound like
handicap
proper
lift,
usage of the
but she
equipment.
was trapped in there for around 40
Dale,
minutes.
safety
I know.
detail.
Just a question
So,
of curiosity.
Alright,
Have we ever had an assessment done by the company that, performs maintenance on it to say, where is it at in terms of its life? And
We have it inspected every year.
it's the elevator has to be inspected every year.
Yes. Mhm,
I was just
and
wondering what they had to say about it, like, we really should be.
They say
looking
that
at-
we've taken a very good care of it, and that that, 21 years is a good run for a handicap lift.
Yeah, alright, we got a question in the back.
I was just gonna state, it's an ADA compliance issue, you
Right.
can't have an outside walkway
Right.
and that be considered, that's not legal, because you have to provide the same services for everybody, whether it's every user or not, just an ADA compliance.
But I mean, I think, again, it's needed or whatever, but some of them said, I think we ought to really be keeping an eye on it, see if, kids aren't going up and down.
No, oh no, I don't think that anyone's abusing the lift. I don't keep, we don't keep statistics on who uses the handicap lift. I'm not even sure that that would be legal. Probably a
Probably
privacy
not.
concern there.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like,
I think you could count usage statistics, like how many times it's used. You don't have to count who uses it, but I would. I
It
don't
doesn't,
know.
I mean, it's,
Safe or
we
unsafe.
need to do it.
Yeah, it's,
Either safe or
Basically,
unsafe.
we need to replace
What's
it.
that?
yeah, it
It
needs
sounds
to be
like.
replaced, you're correct, yeah, so.
And we need to replace it, and if the next one lasts only 19 years, we'll really get after you.
Is that something that the Friends of the Library Fund could cover?
they don't raise this kind of money. I think they raise around between $1,500 to $3,000 a year, and that generally pays for our, the museum passes and things like that.
Maybe you guys could, well, I guess it's not much time left, but open a fundraising campaign for it too.
if it's a requirement, I guess I'm stuck on the fact that this is a basic part of the library building, and it's not a nice to have, it's not a,
It's necessary.
yeah. This is part of having the building.
Accessible by everyone.
Yep.
Yep,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's part of the building,
Right.
it has to do with ADA laws, so, you know, it's like kind of,
I mean, if it's ADA required, there's no way getting around that, but if there's other entrances, then I don't know. I don't know.
That's-
But the
that's
80
tough in the
but
winter, you know
American
what I mean?
Disabilities Act requires that everybody be able to use a facility in the same way. And if regular people don't have to go all the way outdoors and come indoors in the bad weather, then disabled people don't either. Did I get that right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is fair.
I mean, it just sounds really horrible the way you're talking,
Yeah.
you know? You're gonna force the handicapped to go outside because they're handicapped.
Because what's
you
it
know?
cost you to try and keep getting it repaired, you know what I
Right.
mean? The new,
You can't,
know?
yeah,
Well, and that is part of the consideration, is that we can no longer get parts for this.
That's
Right,
If
right,
it
that-
fails,
Updated.
yeah,
Are you gonna, do you have a replacement in mind?
yeah, we had the guy come out.
not
and
China.
Is
do
it,
the
is it,
quote.
is it the same manufacturer?
I don't remember. I actually don't even know that the original manufacturer is still in business as the same company. It's been 21 years.
Okay, all right. Anything else on the elevator? Lift, whatever it's actually technically called, lift.
Handicap lift, right? Or it'll just a lift, because it might be written wrong, I'm hearing anybody can get in it. I know if you go down to like the Patriots game and you jump on the handicap elevator, when you get to where you're going, they're waiting for you and they haul you out, so I don't, that's all I'm trying to decipher. Is it a handicap lift, or is it a lift for anybody that wants to? Somebody's not feeling good, they can get on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we should take the handicap out of it, just say lift. It's an elevator, basically. The same thing, you go somewhere, you see someone park into a handicap spot, they get out, they walk, they're fine, they get the little badge on, there's nothing wrong with them. They're same as veterans parking, all that, so, whatever it is, I don't care, we need it, I know that, so.
All right.
Ready to move on.
Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the previously established revaluation capital reserve fund for the purpose of performing a statutory revaluation of property every 5 years. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 2.5 cents per thousand of property validation. That just seems wrong.
So that's pretty standard, and that saves us money in the end, so that's,
How does it save us money in the end?
well, we don't have to spend it all at once.
But it's
But it
like an
doesn't-
interest-free loan from the taxpayer.
Right,
So basically, it levels out the
I know,
spending every
I'm
year.
just saying it doesn't save us any
Right.
money.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
save
agree.
money was the right term. What I'm saying is it doesn't make us have a big lump all of a sudden.
It avoids a bubble every 5 years.
That's what I
Same with all
want
the
to say.
capital.
Just steal a little bit each year so people don't notice this.
Problem with inflation's eating it, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the problem. I mean,
Well, if we
At
didn't
least-
spend it, would we not reevaluate and not have more taxes?
Whatever.
well, I don't want a loss
It's-
on my tax money, that's what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, we have to do it, you know, it's, unfortunately, there's tax impact to have our
Required by
property
the state.
reevaluated. All right, any realistic questions on that? Article 12, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate a sum of $10,000 to be added to the invasive species prevention and eradication removal expendable trust fund previously established. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 1.2 cents per thousand of property validation. So this is where the 8,000 was reduced to 5,000. The money could be expended out of here, which is where it's previously been spent from.
Isn't that like double dipping to have it in the budget and as a warrant article? Like,
Not,
you're getting half the money here, half the money here?
not really.
Okay.
So I can speak to that. Basically, this fund has been funding everything that was now added to the budget. The unfortunate thing is those costs have gone up. This is supposed to become include some savings for eradication. And because those expenses have gone up, moving some of that to the budget instead of just adding it here seemed to make more sense. So there's two ways to handle it, is it could be all put here and then withdrawn, more and more every year because of the expenses, or having some dedicated money here to kind of separate the two.
Yeah, but I mean, it kinda hides it from the taxpayer, right? Cause I mean, I have another 5,000 in here that they don't see. They see 10,000, but there's really another 5,000 in here. And then I know, I forget where it was probably in the highway department, but there's thousands of dollars in there that has gone up in this budget for invasive species removal for all the Japanese knotwood and the ash trees that have had to be cut down. So like invasive species removal and stuff in total is, at least double this when you factor in all these other line items for it.
Right, and so this is only for, water bodies.
It's not limited
It's
to the
not-
lake, but it's only water.
It's
aquatic.
aquatic species.
It doesn't say that.
Say that somewhere there.
When the fund was created,
It says
was
it in the
limited.
fund, so maybe it should actually say that here.
Yeah,
It probably should say that as part of the warrant article.
Now, what bodies of water does it,
It covers any water, it covers Tuckaway, it covers North River Lake, it covers the North River, basically any water body.
Does it actually get used for those, or does it only get used for the lake?
So far, it only gets used for Pawtuckaway, to my knowledge.
that's what I was just
where-
curious
'cause-
about, if it's just one specific body of water, or,
No, it is not, it's not specific to any body of water, that's where the actual problem is with the invasive species. So,
probably less in a river though, right, cause the flow is always moving.
Pawtuckaway is where everybody basically uses the lake, you have people coming and going with boats and stuff like that, the rivers, you may have a few fishermen, but it could be spread through fishermen, coming from different places there, but usually these species are typically more lake-borne. There are some river species that you wouldn't get in a lake, that could be used for that, like something, snot, rock snot or something, I think is one of those. So,
Okay, I was just curious,
yeah.
what bodies in town.
Yeah, but if, it's for any water body.
Number 13.
Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $33,000 for the purpose of purchasing the necessary fuel, supplies, equipment, and maintenance to run the ambulance and billing services for 2022, and to authorize the withdrawal of $33,000 from the ambulance and equipment replacement special revenue fund created for this purpose. Majority vote required. Tax impact is 0 cents per thousand, because,
Because you're withdrawing it.
oh, because you're withdrawing it. Right, sorry. Yep, so that's the standard.
and that's as far as we need to go.
And the rest there's no dollars, 14 has dollars.
No, it doesn't. Well, there's 0 tax impact.
Well, still, we got dollars
Still have-
They're still
associated.
spending taxpayer money.
Right,
Cause, right, it says estimated tax impact is $0, but if people vote these down, that money will get returned to the taxpayers, so obviously there's a tax impact, it just, you don't,
Oh, it doesn't get returned.
no, it
just
doesn't get returned, it just doesn't
it
get
gets
used.
not stolen in the next tax bill.
It's not stolen,
These are reserve funds.
It's gonna stay there, that's all.
No,
it's
oh,
not
this is a
stolen.
reserve fund?
Next
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
are all reserve.
Thought we had a unassigned fund balance.
No, to see if, all right, so Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $300,000 for the purchase of a new ambulance and to authorize the withdrawal of $1,000 from the ambulance and equipment replacement special revenue fund created for this purpose. Majority vote required, estimated tax impact is 0. So this is in the fund. Any questions there?
Wait a minute, so when it says raise and appropriate, is that $300,000 already sitting in the ambulance fund?
Yes,
Okay, so it
But
was,
you're
it was
still-
added previously.
yes,
Collected through billings.
right,
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Okay.
right,
Pays for itself more or less.
right, it basically pays for itself.
Yeah,
So it's collected from billing, gets added to this fund, but we still have to raise and appropriate it to withdraw it. Otherwise, it just collects in the fund. Right, did you have a question?
I just was wondering how many animals we have right now. Obviously, there's no.
I think it's.
We have one.
We currently
There's
have
talk
one.
of 2, but there's just 1 right now.
All right,
And
Use that a whole lot? Cause I never use
It sounds like they're
it gets
using it more
used,
than ever.
Yeah.
it gets used quite a bit, actually.
Quite a bit.
I, did I
based on,
bring
I
that
got these
note?
rates right here from the fire chief. I mean, I don't see too many fire trucks in my neighborhood, which is a good thing, but I do see a lot of ambulance there. I do have friends on the fire department, and he's fiscal responsible, both of them, and I asked him straight up, do we really need this? And he, you know, it's his opinion, he said yes. You know, I trust what he says, I trust the fire chief, I mean, it's, but it does pay for itself, it's a thing for the town.
Well, we have
So-
an extra person on there to take care of the ambulance.
There was,
Don't
Well, he
use
does the MC at night, you know what I mean, he's one of the volunteers, another one is also,
It sounds like our ambulance gets used more now
Yeah.
because surrounding towns offer less mutual aid, so we have to handle more of our own calls. Am I right about that? Something like that?
I'll, not 100%, but less time, there's less available mutual aid when we don't have it.
right,
Our ambulance received quite a bit, our total call volume at the end of the year was 672 calls, out of 240 some. When I gave you that didn't include November, December, I believe.
Oh,
it
okay.
had through November, or at least part of November.
672 was the end of the year for the total amount of calls, so I don't have the data from,
Right, so it was.
this is 12/16.
It was 300, so out of 616, it was 323 were the ambulance calls.
that number 20.
So-
I apologize, I can't call it,
No, you
Yeah,
don't
no,
need to
that's all right.
apologize. That's more than half of the calls are ambulance.
So they're using it every day, basically.
Right, and if you gotta go in for maintenance, I agree with you. They say one thing, it might be a week, 2 weeks, who knows, with parts and everything, then you don't have no ambulance.
Actually,
Another support is, it is our only single valve, it's the only one we have, when it's down, like you said, for maintenance. But also, if something happens to it, failure wise, we're out of an ambulance, like here, for instance, last week's ice storm, I'm not here to scare people. But the ambulance was involved in a minor traffic accident. Other cars going by from motor vehicles, we hit our ambulance, 0 damage on our ambulance, minor damage on the truck that hit us. There's just an example, could have been catastrophic or,
right, right.
bigger impact. So
We've-
this gives us some backup capability.
Yeah, we've had police cars get hit before that kind of totaled them, and that's hard in the pocketbook. Okay, Article 15, right, is that where we're at? Yep. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $48,000 for the purpose of purchasing a new F-350 utility truck, and to authorize the withdrawal of $48,000 from the highway truck capital reserve fund established for this purpose, majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 0 per $1,000 of property validation. So this is where one of the funds that we're looking to add $100,000 to. Article 7, highway capital reserve. Highway truck capital reserve. So, alright, so Article 7 looks to add $100,000 to this, and then Article 14 withdraws $300,000, so,
No, Article 15.
sorry, Article 15 withdraws $48,000. questions on that one?
John, do you wanna say what the truck's for?
Pardon?
Do you know what the truck's for? Do you wanna say what it's for?
This utility truck is replacing the existing utility truck that is reached serviceable life. They try to see repairs costly on it, and it will have a power on it.
Do you know why somebody on the select board voted against it?
You have to ask them, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But no, salt spreader, is that correct? Because it's not capable. That's the problem I have. I mean, it'd be nice with the, you know, I mean, just another backup for a salt spreader. I mean, what are you really carrying in utility trucks? Usually you see like plumbers do it or electricians have it. You do like maintenance on stuff?
Right, so we have a fuel tank in it, portable fuel tank that serves fuel equipment that
Okay.
on the side, carry tools in, chainsaws, cutter saws, sign equipment, things of that nature, compactor.
Couldn't most of
Okay.
that be done with like a F-150 or 250?
No, you don't want that. You need at least a 1 ton minimum, something like this. You know, if it was like a salt spreader, I'd say 1 ton for a town would need to be efficient. You need like a 550 or something.
I don't need the 550, so again, who's asking for a 550, I would surely ask to have it be a dump body.
Right, for a dump body, yeah, I agree with you, not for utility.
Maximize what the vehicle can do with the weight.
150, you destroy it.
Yeah.
It's not much more money between a 250 and 350 that you're getting out of it.
I'm just wondering why somebody voted against it. There's gotta be a reason, so. Well, I guess we don't know.
Alright. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $233,750 to pay off the long-term debt acquired to purchase property known as Mulligan Forest in 2007. A sum to come from unassigned fund balance. Savings is principal and interest would reduce the tax rate by 5.2 cents per thousand of property validation beginning in 2023. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 0 per thousand of property validation. All right, so
That would come from
Unassigned fund.
22's unassigned fund balance, right?
right, so was there a
So I'm really curious, because not only does that work with, Article 22, but I mean, that works with, Article 23, which is to use the conservation fund to pay off the remaining balance of the Mulligan Forest conservation easement.
right, so I guess the select board was gonna ask, request that be used through the conservation money?
Oh, the conservation committee would have to agree
Right,
to
so
spend it.
did you guys talk to them?
I haven't talked to anybody.
That's why I put number 23 in there.
So it's their decision on how, they have the authority to make the decision. Like the town grants them that authority, that they get to make those decisions.
Right, but then they can't actually spend it without the
They have to
select
come
board,
to the
right?
select
Yeah,
board to approve the agreement.
so it's double authority. Okay,
But the warrant article kind of forces everybody's hand, right? I mean, the voters have the ultimate authority.
How does that force their hand?
I think that they would have to go back and change the vote on how decisions are made by the Conservation Commission. I believe, that's my understanding. But I could be wrong.
so, all right. I guess the question here was, so the selectmen didn't go talk to the Conservation Commission to ask them if they were, willing to do that? Okay. Right, and nobody from the Conservation Commission's here, right? Okay. Okay,
Well, chances look good that it's gonna get paid off one way or another.
Right, that's a good thing.
Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $136,224 to pay off long-term debt acquired to build a new fire station in 2007. The sum to come from an unassigned fund balance, the savings of principal and interest would reduce the tax rate impact by 5.1 cents per thousand of property validation beginning in 2023.
And the unassigned fund balance, that counts the sale of the Route 4 bottling plant property? Is that where that ended up?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it'd be great if that was more clear.
Tax majority voted required, why does it say tax majority vote required? Typo?
That was probably supposed to say 2023 tax year, maybe?
I think the word tax probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
The estimated tax impact is 0 per thousand of property validation. Okay. That's
for
paid off. Fire station,
Fire station, right? Is there one for the town, recycling center? I thought we owed money on that also.
It was the landfill, I think.
Yeah, landfill.
Landfill, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Oh, we should have had
That be
one for that
included
too.
somewhere? We got a fire station, the forest, and the landfill.
Yeah, we could have gotten rid of the whole long-term debt service.
Yeah, that's a good thing, getting the town out of debt.
Asked about asked about it, didn't know if it was a super site or state, something with a state, I don't know.
Oh, you,
Never did
okay.
get an answer.
Okay.
So we're
that's-
stuck paying interest on that then, right?
No early payment.
so
I
it's
guess.
not.
for the
okay,
government.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
stepping in and helping, right?
All right,
Thanks,
just
Joseph.
curious, I just,
thanks for
And then my
taking away a
notes.
good thing.
yeah.
Right. Any other questions there? Okay, Article 18, shall the town vote to adopt the provisions of RSA 36-A:4-A I(b) to authorize the Conservation Commission to expend funds for contributions excuse me, to qualified organizations for the purchase of property interests or facilitating transactions related thereto where the property interest is to be held by the qualified organization and the town will retain no interest in the property. Majority vote required.
That's something we have to vote on?
That's what I was gonna ask too, I don't see why we would vote on
They're talking about adopting provisions, that doesn't really sound like a budget item.
Well, it's got the
Hang
little
on.
fill-in thing, so I think
Right,
it's
the
a
other-
terrible idea. We're gonna use taxpayer money to buy property, but then it's not gonna be owned by the town, it's gonna be owned by some third party?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That's goofy. If it's bought by the taxpayers, it should be owned by the taxpayers.
Makes sense.
Well, where does the money come from for the Conservation Commission?
That would probably come from the conservation
Current
fund,
use.
which gets,
A lot of it comes
that
from
gets
current
filled
use.
with left money, the land
That's,
exchange tax
we
money.
choose to pay your land in current use, you're saving taxes like.
Huh?
Right, but when it's withdrawn, it's tax,
If you try to develop your land in current use, to take it out of current use status, you have to pay 10% of the new market value.
which would go back to the town, it's town money.
Well, it goes back to the conservation.
Conservation,
Right,
man,
right,
used to
but
be,
it-
they
it's
used to be
still-
split
it's-
though, I
it's-
thought, by
it's
the
the
town
town.
and
It's-
conservation.
It's
but now
owned,
just-
it's still town's money. One
Before
way
we
or
get too far away from them, back to Article 16 and 17, they show no estimated tax impacts. It would be great if there was a statement in here that clarifies that this is gonna save the town money over time by not having to
Right.
make interest payments for the next however many years.
Says it right
It
there.
does say that in
Does it?
17.
Savings in principal and interest would
Excellent.
reduce the tax
And
rate
it
by.
says it in 18 too.
Yeah.
Right, reduce the rate by that in 2023. So do we need to vote on this one?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to read it.
Well, we don't vote now, right?
So it says that in both of them, it says the reduces the tax impact.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't read it close enough, I'm sorry, that's my bad.
Is it able to put a dollar amount in there?
Yeah, like a total would be nice.
Like a total? You know, the fire station I heard was 28,000 saved, and the forest would have been 48,000 saved. That might drive people to vote yes to pay off the debt in the town.
I mean, cause you could, cause that's just for 1 year, I would add up just the total amount of interest payments we have left in that bond and say.
Well, I thought this
save-
was the totals. It would save us. I thought the fire station was right here,
I
right?
don't know, cause it says beginning in it, it doesn't, I don't know if that means per year.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, my notes were 132,000, but the fire station would save us 28,000, and the 24, so 255,000 would save us 48,000.
So when you calculated these per thousand savings, were you using the annual budget reduction or the total?
I thought it was the total,
saved?
thought it was the total, but I,
Okay.
like I said, I'm not positive.
I feel like you should put the biggest number you can in there, cause
Right,
if it's saving us money, you should make it obvious how much it's saving.
absolutely.
So, I mean, I guess I guess technically, there is money associated with this. Because if we are turning over property or holdings of the
Assets.
town, assets, thank you, then we should probably vote on it.
I think so. So just for clarification, like that qualified organization would be like the Southern New England Land Trust, like the South Forest or something like that,
Right
so,
there, Bear Paw or something.
okay.
Right.
So it'd be taking it out of town.
And I assume that's why Article 19 similarly has this, you know, if these went through DRA, then they're there for a reason. All right, so Article 19, to see if the town will vote to discontinue and relinquish all public interest in the portion of Cahill Road beginning at the northwest corner of tax map 68, lot 51, and extending to its terminus, subject to the condition that the owner of lot 49-4 conveys an easement for a truck turnaround at a location and in a form satisfactory to the Board of Selectmen. So it sounds like the town owns part of a road or something?
Tyler, do you know what the purpose of this is?
I don't wanna screw it up, so, but it is a, I think it's the landowner came in.
Here,
Yep.
this was a result of last year's meeting where the town road, the private road passed. And what happened was, it affected the homeowner that he could not expand his
It's-
current, he can't even put an addition on his house, they didn't understand what was happening. So now he's basically asking to rescind the vote for private road to public road last year. That's what this article is about. It's taking harm to his property.
So they wanted their private road to become a public road, and now they want it to go back to being a private road? Okay.
I can't say how.
I don't think he was
Which-
involved in the whole,
I'm not gonna, I don't know how he voted. I'm not gonna say.
I'm sure I don't think he even did.
And now it affects him, and he can't.
I think it's a summer.
He applied to me for the building permit, which I cannot give him under the new standard because of the road. So now he's asking for the road to be brought back to where it was so we can put the addition on his house.
Which road is Cahill Road?
Yes, sir.
Which road is that?
Cahill.
Wait, but where?
On my map, it's Cahill Lane. I'm looking at the Nottingham Town GIS.
Oh, okay, off of Shore Drive?
Yeah.
Cahill Lane?
Yeah.
Cahill Lane is
Yeah.
off of Shore Drive.
Yeah,
Should this be changed to say Cahill Lane then?
So what about the other, houses on that road?
Right,
So he is at the end of the road, there is one property beyond him that actually uses his property as a right of way to get to theirs. We've actually worked with everybody in that area. If this does go through, it's just gonna return back to where it was. And the family actually, even though they're individually owned, the family owns several of the lots in the area. They are all separate lots, but they're
Yeah.
all the same family, so there's not much effect on other people. There is one house though beyond
So
that
the-
it would return back to where it was last year.
So the turnaround would be like, so the turnaround would be like where that guy's house is, but it would impact like one other person beyond him.
So what we're requiring is because, as you know, everything that passed last year, we have to accept it as it was. What we're saying now is that this portion at the very end of Cahill Lane now becomes private road. We are gonna make them
Put a turnaround.
contribute and put a turnaround in that we would. So they're actually, it's gonna cost them money to bring up the standard, something that we want anyways.
All right, and I guess the question is, person beyond if they were in, you know, how do they feel about this? And is it taking away their, is now taking away their
road maintenance.
public road?
Not really, so what happened with, I'm getting into too much detail, there was a driveway, and basically that is what was recorded, and then they moved the driveway prior to last year's, vote, which they were allowed to do because it was private property. And what happened is when the road passed, the article passed last year, we had to recognize the old driveway, because that is what was recorded, we had to follow the law, and that old driveway is right under their house. They're actually using a different driveway anyways, but it's not legal, but they can continue to use that, so this won't affect the house beyond, they're gonna continue to use the road that they were anyways. This is really a technicality that we, the town, have to enforce.
Is anyone against this for any reason?
Not that I'm aware of, but I won't speak for anybody else.
What is
I
the
do
name-
believe that,
what is
as I
the
said,
name
it's
of
all
this-
the family,
Yeah.
and there's one property beyond, which it doesn't really affect them. I won't speak for them, but I do not believe they are in opposition to this.
Okay. What's the name of the street?
Cahill Lane.
Okay, because it says Cahill Road on the warrant article. We should probably fix that there.
Thank you, we'll look it up.
He came in twice, so.
Okay. Article 20. To see if the town will vote to adopt the provisions of RSA 70.
We don't have to look at this, we just said it's.
We still do have to look at them.
I think we could discuss them.
We have to look at them all in case they have an impact. Because whether or not, we have to review them to make sure that they don't have an impact, and if they do, we still have to make recommendations. Or not.
Do we still need all of the departments though now? I mean, we're through them, I mean,
And they can go if they want, I
if
guess.
they want, I mean, you don't have to be here. You don't have to. You wanna go home.
Article 20.
Did we vote on all the other ones so that Maureen can report over?
Well, I mean,
None of these.
they're all up for public comment.
Yeah, let's just get through them.
They are all, it's part of the ballot, and we have to go through every one, it doesn't matter if it's petition or not. That's why we
did
have
that
this
last
meeting tonight, after the petition articles are due, so that we can actually review them.
I don't believe we did that last year.
I think we did.
Yeah, we did,
We went through the whole thing.
we did.
I'm
did
fine with going
recommend
through
some of
them,
them.
I'm just saying if we vote on the ones we've gone through up to this point before Lori leaves, then we would have a resolution. Those ones.
But we vote on them after the hearing, right?
Right, normally,
so
normally
Vote
that's the
on the
way,
ones
so,
that don't have.
we don't
20
vote,
from
so,
20 on, what I would
so,
vote.
Yeah.
let's read it and see if there's anything that we need to vote on. To see if the town will vote to adopt the provisions of RSA 72:61 through RSA 72:64, incidentally, which provide an optional property tax exemption for the property's assessed value for property tax purposes for persons owning real estate property, which is equipment with solar energy systems intended for use of the intermediate site. Such property tax exemption shall be in the amount equal to 100% of the assessed value of qualifying equipment under those statutes. Majority vote required by citizens petition. I have no idea what this is about.
It looks like it's tax relief if you have
Tax-
solar equipment on your house.
That's what it sounds like to me, so that there would be impact, there's an impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Sandra, do you know more about this one?
I don't.
Oh.
Is there anybody, any petitioner here that can speak to it?
Do you have to give up like your other benefits to get that? Like, you know how they're able to sell electricity back to the power company at inflated rates and everything and all the other tax
Yeah, but
benefits?
that's what-
Are
It's
you
like-
still there, Mike?
I am.
Does this
I'm not
impact you?
a petitioner, I'm not a petitioner of this, but if it had been presented to me, I would have been. I found on my assessment that, starting this past assessment, that my solar panels were used as an asset to increase my assessment. And I inquired at town hall if that was for real, and if the taxes were going to be essentially taxing my solar array. And I was told yes, and that many counties around us have already passed similar ordinances to this that excludes solar systems from tax assessments for the purpose of promoting solar equipment and to profit, for the town to profit off of this is kind of detrimental to the whole idea of saving electric costs by putting in green energy systems.
Well, I mean, the town's not profiting off of
No.
it, it's just increasing the tax base, it doesn't increase revenue or anything.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, that must have been quite the surprise to get that extra tax bill. Probably regretted approving all those tax increases the last few years at that point.
Especially when you put the solar panels on to save money in the end.
Yes,
Well, that's right, that's what you do.
That's the rub.
yeah, well, that's taxes,
Right, just like a view tax too, right?
yeah.
Same
Yep.
thing.
Consequences to all this spending.
Yep, all right, any questions on that one?
So should we vote on it?
If I might add, it's really an ordinance to promote the use of solar panels.
Right.
And make it easier for those wishing to install them to do so and have the cost of such endeavors more readily profitable within 10 years or whatever the cost of the equipment is provided.
Well, now, I'm not a big fan of the way the property tax and assessing and stuff works, but isn't the idea that if you're able to afford a fancier home or more expensive things, that then you're able to afford paying more taxes? So, I mean, doesn't it make sense that if you're able to spend $20,000-$30,000 on a solar system, that you have to pay more towards the school system?
I appreciate that argument, but if you want to discourage being this ecologically minded, then yeah, this would be something that goes against that.
I thought there was already incentives through the federal government and
There's a
the
lot of
states.
incentives, yeah.
Yeah, there's
I think
already.
we're just evaluating, is this something we need to vote on or not, and then we
Right,
should keep going.
I agree,
It's
let's
already
move on.
9:15.
So, it sounds like there's
Early.
a,
We
there is
still have
definitely,
20 things to vote
so
on.
there's a
Early.
tax impact for it,
Yeah.
so,
We need to vote on it.
It's not like
I
having
don't-
a laptop.
I don't know how it has tax impact, because the total assessed value, it just goes into the or out of it. They're assessing it and then taking it back out. But whatever, I don't care, let's just move on.
Article 21, to see if the town will vote to accept in their current condition as Class 5 town-maintained highways, the following roads identified as emergency lanes by the Board of Selectmen: Sherwood Lane, Langley, Big, whatever. A whole bunch of roads here that I don't wanna read. The combined length of these roads is approximately 0.7 miles, 7/10 of a mile, and have been maintained by the town for several decades. Majority vote required by citizens petition.
Is this just the list of all public, private roads that weren't added last year?
Most likely, or maybe not all of them, but
They're
some
phasing-
additional
They're
ones.
phasing them in.
Did they get signatures from everybody on all of these roads, or did they just put in a big list of roads? Cause I think some of these roads only have one person living on them.
so
Yeah,
it doesn't
I'm
really
sure.
matter.
That's why they call them emergency lane.
Yeah.
You go to one house.
Yeah, no, I just meant, I think it's, I don't know, I mean,
Well, usually, unless they're
it
all like,
almost seems like people, like, well, the thing that we just saw where someone once they had a private road, and then we made it a public road, and now they're like, whoa, I don't wanna be a public road, I wanna be a private road again. And it's like, do we actually have someone from each of these roads that wants to be on here? Did someone turn in a petition for all the remaining private roads to be publicized?
So I think this is the same as like last year, because they've all been maintained for the town for several decades.
0.7 miles, I don't see it.
0.7 miles, right, it's not,
I guess we'll find out at deliberative session, how many people people show up and talk about it.
All right, Article 22, to see if the town will vote to authorize $300,000 of the land use change tax collected pursuant to RSA 79A25 to be deposited into the existing conservation fund in accordance with RSA 36A53 as authorized by RSA 79-A:25(2). Luck collected in excess of $300,000 shall be deposited in the general fund. If adopted, this article shall take effect April 1st, 2022, and shall remain in effect until altered or rescinded by future voting of the town meeting.
So it just caps the amount in the conservation fund coming from land use change tax.
All right, so that's, so right now it's at 100%. This is to change it to
It'd
capping it.
still be 100%.
Up to 300,000.
After 300,
Yeah.
after 300,000, it would go to the general fund.
It used to be 50-50 back in the day, right?
It started, yeah, it was all of the general fund, then it was 50-50, and then it was 100. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so this would be a so just a move, okay. All right, so that's no impact. Article 23, to reduce our property taxes, shall we direct the Board of Selectmen and the Conservation Commission to use the Conservation Fund to pay off the town's remaining long-term debt from the 2007 purchase of Mulligan Forest Conservation easement, majority vote required by citizens petition.
I almost wonder if that can't be like combined with the other warrant article. I don't know.
Oh, you can't do that now.
It's like a building with a fire station.
It looks very confusing, because it looks like you're paying it off twice.
Huh?
It's confusing with the other warrant article, because it looks like you're almost asking to pay it off twice.
I agree. It was just it was a last minute thing because we found out, the Conservation Commission has to approve this thing, and it wasn't clear if they were gonna approve it in time, so just kind of put this in as a stopgap, just in case they don't say yes.
Article 24, in order to promote transparency and ensure our elected officials represent the interests of Nottingham taxpayers, shall we direct the school board to allow public access all negotiations of union contracts and collective bargaining by collecting all negotiations of meetings open to the public and subject to provisions of New Hampshire RSA, access to governmental records and meetings. So this one, there's no impact.
Well, I think there would be a big tax impact because, as we've seen on this budget committee with the school budget, the largest portion of that is salaries.
Right, but there's no direct impact to the, I mean, there would.
I agree, there's
Yeah,
no direct
there's
impact.
no direct impact,
It's
so
going to
it's
have,
not-
it's gonna have an effect on budgets and stuff.
I agree, that this, it could have a major effect on the budget at some point, but.
And just to clarify, so the way it is the state law, the NHRSA 91A, which provides access to governmental records and meetings, basically the right to know, people's access, ability to go to a public meeting, it defines what is a meeting, and certain things can be described as a non-meeting, and then they're not subject to these public access records. And so currently, there are exceptions that are available for union contract negotiations, and there's been efforts in the past to remove those exceptions, but they are voluntary exceptions. So it doesn't say that there can't be public access to union negotiations, and it doesn't say that union negotiations can't be conducted in a public meeting that is open to the public and subject to these regulations. And so what this does here, I have requested the school board in the past to see if they would be willing to allow public oversight or allow a representative from the budget committee to come and be a part of these union negotiations, because so much of our tax money and our spending is decided at these, and we just don't know what goes on. And they don't have any interest in allowing the public to access these meetings. So this just, directs them to allow public access and just conduct these things open to the public so that we can have some transparency, and kind of see, how the sausage is made.
All right,
Transparency is good.
Article 25, to reduce the amount of waste the town must pay to dispose of and to enable the reuse of salvageable materials, shall we direct the Board of Selectmen to allow town residents to pick and take reusable materials and objects at their own risk from the recycling center dumpsters. Majority vote required. No tax impact, I'd say.
So I'll say that should save us money, because we've heard from.
Direct tax impact.
No, I'm not saying that I'm not
well,
saying it needs a tax impact statement.
Move along to
Right.
the.
We're
Right.
discussing if these things have any sort of budget relevance, and I'm saying that based on our previous meetings,
It actually
talking
could
about the
cost us
solid
money
waste
because
disposal
people are
costs.
taking recyclable materials, so
Huh?
it could actually cost money because if people take recyclables.
The only things that make
Oh,
us
and
any
then
money are
enter it
metals.
into-
Most of the stuff we pay.
Somebody could drive
for
away
oil.
with a trailer of, cans.
Huh?
Somebody could just drive away with, the trailer of cans.
It does not, it doesn't say that you can write off of the whole thing. It's reusable materials.
All right,
I-
Article, Article
Only
twenty-six.
thing I worry about this is the piece that says that people can go into,
It doesn't say that you can go into it.
or you can pick from. I wish we could go back to the situation that was
That's-
after
it's
they
not-
removed
that's-
the cottage that they weren't maintaining, and then there was a place where people came in, and during the day, if there was something that they thought might be useful for somebody else, they left it in a pile there. And then at some point, either at the end of the weekend or the end of the day, the recycle people, dissenter employees, put it in the trash bin.
I agree with you. That would be great.
And that
for
was
that group.
wonderful, because it seemed to solve everything's
Nobody
problem.
wants to maintain it, so let's move on.
So Sandra, I'll say
Alright,
that
let's move on.
I totally agree with you, but no one's ever yelled at me for putting anything
Alright,
outside the
come on.
dumpster or
Let's-
taking anything
let's-
outside the
let's move
dumpster.
on.
And all the signs that are there now say no taking, no picking from the containers.
Okay.
And that's what people are getting yelled at for, so that's what this
Go on,
addresses.
Neil.
But
Let's
that
move
whole,
on.
that
Alright,
whole
it doesn't
place
matter.
where you could leave things no
It's
longer
not-
exists.
We don't need to vote on it, so
Okay.
let's go. Article twenty-six, shall we adopt the provisions of RSA 32:5-B and implement a tax cap whereby the governing body or budget committee shall not submit a recommended budget that increases the amount to be raised by local taxes based on the prior fiscal year's actual amount of local taxes raised by more than 4%, majority vote required by citizens petition.
Yeah, so that's just your standard wording from the New Hampshire RSA for that, they specify that.
Okay. And Article twenty-seven, that's to transact any other business. All right. Any other questions on any of those? Nobody from the public has anything else? Question? Okay. All right. So we can now close the public comment section and vote on these. All right, so Article 1, 2, and 3, we skip easily. Article 4 is, shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the art parade budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and appropriations for separately the amount set forth on the budget posted and the warrant, or as amended by the vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein totaling $4,429,199. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $4,214,137, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required for previous action of the town.
No, I think we're skipping something.
John, I hate to
think we
cut
have
you
to go
off,
back
but
to
did we
the
have to do the
budget.
revenue?
No, I think we have to go back to the budget in case we wanna make changes.
No, that's what we're gonna do, but did we not have to go over the
Before we
revenue
do
like we
these.
did with the school and approve the revenue statements?
All right, before you vote.
Yeah,
on
we
that.
voted to accept them, nobody went over them, but
Just realized we have this thing and we haven't looked
yeah,
at it
no,
yet.
yeah, the revenues are a part of this.
Can we go back to the budget for a second?
This isn't the estimated revenues, this is last year.
This is last year's revenues. So,
John, there were only 2 items in the budget that you were gonna revisit,
There's a few.
from your words,
what's that? There's 2 items to revisit?
yes.
Is that my words were?
That was your wording. Had to do with line item 98 and 166. The Regional Planning Association
Yep.
and the PV planner. So there's currently a total of $34,322 between those two accounts. The most we've spent, I'll go back 2 years ago, was $25,000. Current year is $22,797, but that may not be all of it, I don't know. So the question is whether we wanna keep it at the total of $34,322.
I think the easiest thing to do is just zero out the membership dues.
I wouldn't zero it out.
Right,
Well,
so,
it's all or nothing, it's
No,
either
no,
you pay
you-
to be a member of the Rockingham
Mark it down to
County thing.
$1.
well, the other choice potentially would be to leave that in there and take that amount out of this planer.
You mean the
If the idea is to do the membership to save money here,
They never said it would save money though.
No.
They just said that they wanted the vote.
No, I,
What do we get if we lower it to $1 that we don't for the zero, just not getting rid of the line item?
well, the line item's there anyway with zero in it, so.
Okay.
And it doesn't, it's,
I think if it's zero, they can't spend
well, no, they still can because there's other money in that,
it on account.
in that account, so it doesn't really matter. The $1 thing only applies to this MS 737, so, like, like collective bargaining is zero, so they can't actually spend any money on collective bargaining. So these are the only lines that actually matter. If there's are zero, then they're zero.
So between the two accounts, $28,063.22. Is there an interest in?
So what about this advertising regional station? That's a 63.
Is it online on here?
I know they wanted to do.
That's the same
Those
amount.
are the only two I wanted to revisit, that's it.
It's not, no, there's too many lines here, I think.
What line is it?
98 and 166.
It's,
One's a Regional Planning Association.
That's the amount of 63.22. That's all line on
so, okay, yeah, so, what line is it? Yeah, so I guess then, if we zero it, they can't spend it.
I think we should
So-
do that.
So
'cause
it should be $1 if we wanna give them the opportunity to maybe make their case with the selectmen, leave it at $1.
Do we wanna give them the opportunity?
Well,
I don't
if-
care, I'm not gonna
I-
fight over $1, so.
I mean, it's,
What
Tyler,
if it
you
saves
were,
them more
I
than
know that they, like I said, I
$6,000?
know that when I was on the planning board for a while, that they, and we had the people from Stratford Regional come in, and people were like, why can't we do this? I said, well, you're in Stratford Regional, but you're not a member, so I guess it's benefits tied to being a member of the, whatever it is.
Yeah, but they didn't make a very strong case for the amount of benefits we would get. They didn't say that it would save us any money or anything. It sounded a lot more like a want than a need. And considering we're, if we're up $400,000 or something, this could be a place to cut 6,000 without hurting anything, because even if there are things that you get for that, we can purchase them a la carte. And I have to assume that purchasing them a la carte is less than this, because otherwise they would have just said, well, here's what we spent a la carte, and, we would save money if we did this, and they didn't say that, so.
so,
My recommendation would be to reduce line item 98 to 25,000 from 28.
But that's stuff that they might need to spend. We don't know if we approve this
They haven't
6,000.
spent that in the last 2
right, they
years.
haven't spent that much, let's take, they spent 25 2 years ago.
Right, that's why I said 25.
Okay.
Yep,
So from 28 to 25.
You wanna make a motion for that?
he is
I'm not
making a
done yet. I'm not
motion, he's
done.
making a motion now, right?
I'm not done yet.
Yeah, that's part of your motion.
Right. And to reduce line item 166 from 63.22 to $1.
Okay, I'd second that.
have no other reductions.
That's, all right, so we have a motion and a second.
Might wanna repeat what it is, cause you don't
Alright.
have to take any reference.
Okay, reduce line item 98 from 28,000 to 25,000. And to reduce line item 166 from 6322 to $1.
166.
So that'd be a reduction of $9,321 from the bottom line.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? One opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
You abstain?
Two opposed.
Oh, sorry, all right, two so we got two, sorry, I forgot about people over there. All right, who's
Which
opposing?
actually, you have to roll call, cause they're not.
Okay, roll call on,
You have to
so-
roll call everybody because they're not in person,
okay, oh Jesus.
for every vote.
All right, roll call, all right. All, the people in favor, state your name. Roll call.
Sandra Jones.
Robert Kelly.
Michael Kelly.
Thomas Butkevich.
Tom LeVay.
Anybody on Zoom in favor?
And I'll say I'm in favor also. All right, and anyone on Zoom on favor?
He's got his hand up.
He's got his hand up.
State your name.
Michelle King in favor? Yes. All right. Opposed?
Jeff Morrison had his hand up for.
All right, oh, is Jeff there too?
Yep.
You have to state
You
your
gotta
name.
state your name.
He's muted.
Huh?
I heard him.
Okay, Jeff?
Very faint.
Could hear him.
Yeah, Jeff, you're a little hard to hear.
I heard that.
Yeah, it's got an echo and that's kinda weird.
Sounds like he's in the back there.
Like he's in a submarine.
It's in a submarine.
Yep.
At least it's louder. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. Okay. All right, opposed? Who's opposed? Say your name.
Tyler Eden.
Michael Keister.
Okay, and,
That should be 10. Right?
right, and then one
I'll
abstain.
One
No,
abstain.
Mark.
Okay. All right,
That's the only thing.
so that motion carries. Okay. Anybody else have any other recommendations?
The, line 21, the Tuckaway Lake Advisory thing, that's all the stuff that used to be done with the $10,000 warrant article for invasive species, right?
Yes.
Well, where are you now?
About
Like
21.
21.
On the first page. So I mean, that's a new budget item, and, you know, it's previously have to be approved every year by the taxpayer. I would like to see it continue to be done that way and not become a permanent part of the budget.
Okay, so
Are you making a motion?
what's your motion?
I guess I would move to reduce it to 0.
All right, and not add it to the other one,
Add it to what?
the warrant article?
I don't think we can do that.
Sure we can change the amount.
We can change the amount on the warrant article?
Huh? We can't change the amount?
Well, I mean, we can at the deliberative session.
I thought
we do.
I thought we could make,
I don't think.
we can't change the amount?
No,
Okay,
you can change the amount at the deliberative session,
okay,
I mean,
we can't change
here.
here. Okay, all
So I
right,
would just move that we reduce 21 from 5,000 to, you wanna keep it $1? Cause then, I don't know, why was it $1 before?
Oh, it was
Doesn't
$1
doesn't it make
before
it an
because they
active
used-
account still or something?
it was $1 before because that account was used for something else.
Okay. But it's a Tuckaway Lake Advisory,
Right,
what
that's,
does that mean?
that was what the old account was for. It was some committee with selectmen and,
Yeah.
that was old,
It was something that doesn't really exist anymore?
yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
well, so if it's, the line item is called Tuckaway Lake Advisory, and it was really like a zombie line item that was just getting $1 to keep it around, and it was for something that doesn't exist anymore, then I would just motion that we reduce it from 5,000 to 0 and just eliminate this old zombie line item, and then at deliberative session, you guys can just add this money into the warrant article, that way all the spending on this one thing is in one thing, people know how much it costs, and you're gonna talk about it all, about the warrant article anyways.
Okay,
Sounds
so-
reasonable.
All right, so that's a motion
I'll second that.
and a second, okay.
I ask a question, how much is the actual Lake Coast program costing the town?
I think it was, the town put in approximately 8,000 this past year.
Yeah, they reduced it by 3,000, right?
Is there,
Right, so the town,
you're right,
the town put in approximately 8,000, PLIA put in, I think, a little bit more than that. And the grant is like maybe 3,500-ish?
Yeah, it continues to go down every year.
Right, so that's a big problem, is the grant goes down every year.
is there any balance in the reserve at this point, the reserve fund?
Reserve where?
And
The one that, the warrant article,
there's,
There
Lake
is
Coast.
balance in there.
yeah, but it's not very much.
No.
What page was that on?
No, does the state kick in anything on that?
That's the grant, basically, it's a grant, so it's like this past year was around 3,500-ish.
And then when it's gone forever? Do they-
Well,
do
no,
they
there's a
re-
grant,
Every year they-
every
Every
year it
year.
recurs, but the amount keeps going down.
Okay.
You know, back a few years ago, it was, you know, like in the 5,000 range. I think it was 5,000 for quite a long time, basically. Then it started going down a lot since,
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that there's more and more lakes that need coverage, lakes have to expand their coverage, right? More and more traffic. So the money is spread much more.
But I thought it was only being used on Tuckaway.
that's because
Right.
it's the one that's infested.
Right.
I guess I've expressed the opposite view year over year, that if it's something that we need spending on every year, we shouldn't be doing it through a warrant article, and
Right.
it's catastrophic to the town and the tax base if that infection becomes worse, which it has been getting worse.
right, that was the idea, is to move it into the budget, to become a regular budget item, and to actually use this fund for more
For the
catastrophe.
catastrophic.
Because that's gonna come.
I think we discussed too, that, I mean, if we get to the point there where we, have one of the newer, like, we talked about the boats or whatever that does this, and maybe it would pay for itself by eventually going out and helping other people. Because I mean, I talk to people up at Winnipesaukee, and everybody's, this problem is huge, and, but some people don't have the resources or whatever to do it, so, I mean,
Sorry, what is this boat you're talking about?
it's a boat that you go out there and, like, these guys now, they have the, right,
It would include like a vacuum type thing,
you know, like sucks it.
dive with this vacuum
The lake,
thing.
a lake vacuum
Yeah,
cleaner. essentially.
basically,
basically.
basically, yeah.
Barron Sea Gold, you know how they.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Well, and the,
Concept, right?
so the warrant article is for invasive species removal, it's not lake specific, right? Not Lake Tuckaway.
It's not specific to
Right,
Tuckaway.
but then this one is, this says right on the line item, Tuckaway Lake. So what I like about the invasive
Yeah,
species
and
one
then-
is that potentially that could benefit more people in town than just those who live on the lake and use the lake.
The logic for putting it in the budget, you know, as Carol stated, it's a recurring, ask every year. But there's also, it gives the Tuckaway Lake, the Lake Coast program
Lake Coast,
manager, the predictability of the money that's coming, so that they can plan better, and so that they know what they have to work with when they're trying to figure out, you know, how many people they can staff, how many hours they can staff, and all of that. There is that predictability and consistency of.
But the Lake Coast program is only being used off the Tuckaway, so so there's not like that grant or that money is really used anywhere else anyway. You can call the line whatever you want, you can read it.
Right.
But the only one that has a Lake Coast program is Tuckaway.
It doesn't mean that that
And more than half
North
of
River
that,
Lake can't, or whatever.
more than half the cost is raised through private fundraising.
But where are we on this motion?
We have
So,
a motion and a
call the vote.
second.
Discussing it.
We have a motion and a second, we're discussing it.
No, I know.
You can
So-
call the vote.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're already asking for the money in the warrant article, you're asking for more money there, and I think that's great, cause you have to go make your case for it to the voters each time, versus just, once it gets in the budget here and gets entrenched, it's never gonna go away.
But my point is the reserve fund should be a true reserve fund, and we should be building that fund for the costs down the road that will be significantly higher than this.
Right, because if,
I
so the
agree,
town.
I agree.
The town is ultimately responsible for mitigation. And if mitigation is truly needed, it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I don't see how, the town is responsible for mitigation because the lake is in town boundaries.
Yep.
I feel like that's an overreach, because the town's responsible for, civil liberties and protection and the school. I don't know if we're,
Well,
responsible for, I don't like weeds in the lake either, but I feel like this is better handled
Also,
privately.
John, isn't the lake considered a public water body? Isn't it owned by the state? In the
State.
sense
right,
that
but the
it's over
state's
7
pushed it
acres?
down to the towns.
Well, I think we
but-
should push it
But in
back.
New Hampshire, all water bodies over a certain acreage, I don't remember if it was 7
Are
or
owned
10
by the
acres,
state, yep.
are essentially owned by the state.
Yep, I agree.
So the state owns it.
State
So
owns it.
it's not the town's responsibility.
The town is responsible.
Has been,
Well, we
doing
kind of
stuff to
assumed
it.
it, we've assumed that, I don't know the legality of it, but I feel like putting it in the town budget says, yeah, we're gonna take this on, where this is,
Well,
Other
that's,
lakes, they've just stopped trying to mitigate it because it's just completely run the lake over and it's.
and if you let the lake basically be destroyed, you've reduced your tax base significantly.
see that. But at the same time, I don't know that this is really something that the town should fall under town governance. And I'm all in favor for it as a warrant article, I think the town should stand behind it that way, but I don't think it should become a fixture of what the town oversees. We should oversee police, fire, education, roads, and not much else, in my personal opinion, and this is.
I like
this
your
is
idea
beyond.
on the capital.
So at
capital fund.
12/31/2020, there was $30,696.75. So so 10,000 was added to that, I think, last year, and approximately 8,000 was taken out, so it was like maybe, it's less than 33,000 currently. So, all right.
You wanna take a vote?
Any further questions before we move the motion? All right, guess not. All in favor?
Right, you
State
gotta
your name.
do. roll call.
State your name.
Well,
All right, all in favor?
Thomas McKevich,
Michael Kelly.
Robert Kelly.
Andrew Jones.
Tom LeVay.
you guys are in favor?
Anybody on the, so that's, all right, that's in here. All right.
Jeff's raising his
Jeff
hand.
from the
Jeff
submarine.
is right, Jeff? Sorry, Jeff Morrison's in favor.
Michelle?
All right, who else is in favor? Anybody?
Was that Michelle?
We should've got them red and green cards to hold up.
Huh? I can't see.
Is
All
Michelle
right,
there?
speak up if you're in favor. All right,
I don't know that
all
Michelle.
right, anybody opposed?
Carol Martin.
Michael Keister,
All right,
Tyler Eaton.
I'm opposed.
Five, it stands.
Who's missing?
Can we have five this time?
Everybody, I think.
There should be more people. was missing last time, we shouldn't have one.
We should have 11, who's, all right, so, Tom, Michael Kelly.
There's 3 MKs, do you have 3 MKs down?
Sandra.
It was even
Tom,
last week, I
me,
thought it was even.
Robert,
Michelle
Sandra,
came wasn't here.
Jeff. 3, 4, 5, there were 6 in favor, wasn't there?
Yeah, we had six in favor.
Who's in favor, who did I miss?
Tom, myself.
Oh, yes.
No, I got both
That was
Toms.
his name, yeah.
And then
Myself,
you had 5, that makes.
Robert,
You did
Sandra,
have
Jeff.
6, yeah.
You're right.
All right, I missed Robert.
6-5, yeah.
That's
Robert,
6-5.
Sandra, Jeff, and Mike. Okay.
I say
Did you
you,
get my vote opposed?
You said you were in favor, I thought.
Yeah, Michael Keister.
No, he was opposed.
Sorry, Michael Keister opposed, yep, okay, got it. Yeah,
And Michelle came also.
right, Michelle and Michael Keister, Carol and Tyler and myself were the opposed, so it passed, 6-5. So that's line
21,
21.
yeah,
And it was reduced to 0,
0.
okay?
Anything else on the budget?
Yes, in the long-term debt service part, the Mulligan easement principal and the fire station principal, is there any way to just put these down, like, lower?
She said that the warrant takes into account paying that principal out of the budget,
Right,
so you'd have to change the warrant.
So whatever's, the warrant is only the additional amount. So it's either pay that if the warrants don't pass.
Yeah.
But if the warrant passes, you add that to that and it pays the whole thing.
If you don't keep it in the budget, you
End
don't
of the
pay
year?
off.
No, through,
Yeah, so I'm wondering if these can be reduced by 75% since
no,
they'd be paid off after.
no, from what Betsy said
Yeah.
was that the amount in the warrant reflects the difference of the payoff balance less the total amount that's in the budget.
I thought you wanted to increase it, get it paid off no matter what, even if the article doesn't pass. Right? I mean,
That's an interesting idea.
I thought that's what you wanna do. I mean, I'm all for getting the town out of debt and saving money.
But now you're double dipping
I'm
out.
for trying to get this total tax increase under 4%.
Well, it will, by doing that though, next year you'll like it better, cause you
Yeah.
won't have the fire in there, forest.
We're down to 4.6.
Can you increase something?
There are limits to
Are
how
Are we allowed
much-
to increase
Yeah,
something?
we
Yeah,
can
we can-
increase.
But
Is
is
there
there
a way to do
a
it?
limit to how much budget can
No, because it's our budget.
That's
There's only a limit
that
on
drive you over?
there's only a
These are the rate-
limit
these are the
on what
rates.
can be changed at deliberative session.
It also makes it more likely the proposed budget won't pass because
Right,
the default is lower.
exactly, exactly.
So
It makes,
we could raise these up until they get up to around the default budget,
Yeah.
and then we could give the voters no choice, just like
default,
the
the
school.
default
That's a
budget.
good
Default is
idea.
lower.
Default
Default's
budget is
lower.
lower.
The default budget's lower?
By a couple $100,000.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
keep slashing stuff.
Well, we could just find something big to cut, huh?
No, I think we,
Idea.
Well, I mean, we
there
could look
really is
at,
nothing else, really.
oh, there's always something else. We could look at.
Yeah, we
what
could look
the-
at $50 here and,
No,
you
no,
know.
no, I think you're not thinking big enough, so we could look at what the essential functions of government are, which is protecting life, liberty, and
Oh,
property, and then we
stop, will
could
you?
find what is not life, liberty, and property in here. What sticks out to me would be, recreation. I don't think that the government has any duty to provide recreational opportunities for people. People can go have fun in the woods. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of public land.
Why are you so,
Well,
why are
let's,
you
let's,
so
all right,
against
let's
kids?
focus on what we're going to,
I may be making a serious motion here.
all right, well, make a serious motion then.
So I mean, how much does the rest of the recreation cost? I mean, that's $120,000, so that could put us under the default budget probably. The library, that's not a essential function of government.
Actually, the
doesn't
library,
produce
you have to
life,
actually
liberty, and
provide by
property.
law.
What?
You actually have to provide a library by law.
Is that real?
Yep.
Do you know the RSA?
I don't know the RSA off the
Is it
top
one
of my
library
head.
per town, the school library, or our library?
The public library is legally, required. I don't remember the RSA,
Now I
but,
learned something.
but
Alright,
that,
I'm gonna go check that out for
yeah,
next year.
there's definitely an RSA associated with that.
Alright, well, I assume I don't have the votes to get rid of all of these non-essential
No, you
things. So,
Not this year, you don't.
I'm out of realistic cuts.
Unless you have some realistic cuts,
no, I'm good, unless we wanna just reduce the total line, the total bottom line budget, like we did last year with the school. And just let them figure out where to cut stuff. What is the, difference between the proposed budget?
Can we call the question and move on? It's 11 o'clock.
Either you have specific proposals or you
Right.
don't.
I'm asking if anyone wants to
It's
do that.
$200,000.
$210,000 over.
Okay. I mean, does anyone wanna do that and reduce it, or what?
I think it gives, like you talked about the other day, it gives the town something to balance.
Yeah.
I think it's irresponsible to make a $200,000 cut in the budget without
Well,
identifying
he
where you
didn't
think
say,
it's coming
he didn't
from.
make a number though.
Well,
I
if he
mean, I
wants to
think
get
they
it
did
below
I
the
think
default,
they did a
then
good
it's-
job already from 10, it was 9 point something,
Yeah.
10.2, and they got it down to 4. I mean, that's,
That's why I think,
we
I'm like,
saw- I think we
holy
saw
smokes,
what the
I'm not,
town-
you know, that's, they've done a lot of work for us, I think.
And that's why the budget was late, was that you guys did a lot of work trying to cut this down, and I really do
well,
appreciate it.
let's accept where we are and
There were
move
a
on.
couple things that I saw could potentially be cut, but they weren't that big.
Oh, what, John?
I don't remember, I was trying to do the thing, you guys were the ones taking the notes.
I've been thinking, you know, like, I love the rec department. I wish they could be more self-funding. I know in years past that, you know, camp dues and everything else, I know COVID screwed that up for them, but
They are self-funded. She explained that the rec revolving fund is where all of those funds are, and the camp does self-fund. That's not even in this budget.
Right.
yeah, no, I know camp isn't, but camp made them money in years past. So now I'm seeing, I support the rec department. I'm not suggesting by any means cutting their budget, but I'm thinking going forward, it would be nice, you know, they're 120,000 if they could generate some of that. I just think we need to start
Carol, do you
thinking
know where they
creatively.
are in the revenue statement?
The rec revolving fund is like its own separate thing. It doesn't.
No.
Right, it's not here, yeah.
Do they pull in $120,000 a year?
It's
Tell you
She
what,
gave
when
us
Janet
all
ran
that
it, she did a
information
good job.
when we-
She,
I
our
asked
kids went to it
specifically
all the
about
time.
that
It was nice. It was cheaper for the parents to put them in the camp and other camps.
See, now that'd be great to know, if this 120,000 that is in this budget for the rec department, that's self-funding from fees and stuff, that would be wonderful.
No, the rec revolving fund is where all of the camp and what used to be the soccer program, all the fee programs are all through the rec revolving fund, which are self-funding. This, what's in here is staff and all the programs where they don't charge a fee.
Oh, so the rec revolving fund doesn't cover the staff salaries.
It covers all the part-time, like the after-school care program, the camp program, all the part-time stuff.
But not all the rec people
Not the
salaries are in here.
No,
Oh.
there's only, what, 1, 2 rec people? I mean, they have a lot of helpers throughout the summer, I know that. My kids.
The
went
part-time
there.
people are covered by the rec revolving.
Right,
Right,
and there's a lot of them.
John,
there's a lot. All
They
right.
do a good job.
I make a motion that we change the bottom line budget to $4,414,878, which is a 4.6% increase.
Can you do that, John?
Yes,
Yes,
it's called the Brentwood decision, it was
yeah,
a thing out of Brentwood.
right, yep. So just change the bottom line as it is,
Read the
and,
number again?
$4,414,878, which is now a 4.6% increase. 878? 878,
And that reflects the two,
Yes.
motions that we voted on.
yes.
Yep.
4.6.
So what's the difference between doing that and we just change the lines? They get to
We
move the
took
money
them
around? That would be the difference.
21 is,
What do you mean?
Well, so if so we've already made motions, we've reduced the budget by this amount,
You have
and
5
we've
and
reduced them from particular lines.
Right.
If we go and we just change the bottom line number by that amount, then they have to choose where that comes from.
well, we can,
3 is,
John, do we communicate where we've made changes, or?
So basically,
we made motions
we
already.
made motions and accepted them for, yeah, we made,
Right, okay.
of
yeah,
course
so
we
they-
communicate what
So
we
they
did.
know the line items.
So
Right.
that's,
So we're not telling them to
so
go
that's
back.
$14,321.
$4,414,878.
So you,
Are you
So what do you-
decreasing it more than what we already did, or are you just taking out what we already took out?
No, I'm taking out the $9,321, which was the two line items I talked about. Then we took out the 5,000,
Yep.
which is 14,320.
So that's just the
So
new
we've
total.
already done that, actually.
so that's the new total.
Yeah.
All right, so you
Yeah.
just, that's the new
That's a
total.
new number, that's all I'm telling you.
Yeah, we don't need a motion, because
So
we already did.
what's the new number?
$4,414,878. Now we would copy that over onto the warrant article and change that number on there.
So that $4,414,878 is $14,321 less than,
Right, yes,
okay.
yep.
So you're just making a motion to, that's the bottom line.
That we're done.
Okay.
Making a motion to recommend that
That-
analysis.
We have
Okay.
we have to vote on it, or
All right, yeah, no, there needs to be a second
discussion?
discussion, right, well, second first.
Anybody second?
I'll second it. I think the budget's tight.
Okay, so, any other discussion on the budget?
So, I'm sorry, you had 2 line items, those still remain cut?
Yeah, basically, that's the subtraction from, so line 98 is reduced by $3,000. Line 166 was reduced by $6,321. And then line 21 was reduced by $5,000.
And so that adds up to the,
Yes,
14,000.
yes.
$14,321, which is the difference.
so rather than reflecting the individual lines, you're saying,
No, we're still saying, those are the lines that we recommend changing, and that's the new number. So we're just, basically now we're making a motion for the warrant article itself.
I mean,
Wording in the warrant.
I mean, we don't have to vote on the bottom line, because we already voted on.
Right, we already
Well,
voted on
we
that.
still have, we should vote on the
Vote to
warrant
recommend the
article.
article.
Right, to recommend the
Oh, okay,
article or
okay.
not.
Do you wanna change your motion to recommending the article?
Yeah, that's what you should do.
Yeah, that's fine.
That would be better.
So restate the motion.
So the motion, I guess, all right, I'm gonna restate the motion as, where's the stupid page? This one. Shall the town roads appropriate the sum of, appropriate as an operating budget, appropriation special warrant article, blah, 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 yada, 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 $4,400,000 and,
14,870.
yeah, thank you. Okay. And then should this article defeat, the default budget shall be $4,214,137. So, 414. Where's the number? 414.
878.
Yep. 4,414,878. So it's still higher than the default. Okay. All right,
I think it'd be easier to just go around the table and call our names, or
Yeah.
that's getting really confusing.
it was, okay, so Tyler,
Are we gonna discuss it?
well, I asked if there was any further
Oh,
discussion.
sorry, yeah, I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna vote not to recommend it, just because the default budget is lower, so. And all of the cuts that we made are not in the default budget anyway, so they're all gonna move forward as we did it.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just making it clear.
I'm just trying to present a budget that I think is reasonable, and
All right.
whether they go with the default or.
Nope, and they did a great job on the budget, I'm not
Right.
knocking it in that way.
I think so too.
All right, Tyler. Yay or nay?
On the new number.
Recommend.
Right, to recommend or not recommend?
can abstain, that's what I did.
Yeah,
Because we've already voted on it, as the original, so it's very, in my mind, confusing to have to then vote again on it.
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's whether you recommend.
Which is why I abstained.
the
I'm just
budget or not.
explaining why I
Yeah.
abstained,
I-
because you're asking
So I
them
would
to
assume
vote on
if you
it.
voted on the two previous motions.
Right, but this is what actually gets reflected on the warrant,
I'm just
Right.
explaining why I
So you'd probably say
was
no.
in his shoes and I abstained.
so,
I vote no.
you vote no?
Yep.
So, okay, so, all right, that to me makes 0 sense, but that's your choice.
Well, you voted no on the other two?
Voted no on both.
Well, because what you're doing by saying no, you are actually.
You're not allowed to talk people out of it.
No, I
I
just,
think he's just trying to clarify the
Right.
question. We got,
right,
so can we restate the motion? That way we're
The
all
motion
clear.
is to
The
recommend
motion-
Article 4.
the motion is to whether or not recommend Article 4. By not recommending Article 4, you're basically telling the taxpayers to vote for the default budget.
What?
All right, yeah, I guess I'll change my, I don't know, I guess there's so many questions, so many, I don't know.
So-
I vote yes.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
What does it do with
Tom L, yes.
No.
Tom B, no.
Yes, for me, Michael Kelly.
Kelly. You said what, yes?
Yes.
John Decker is yes. Carol?
Yes.
Robert Kelly?
No.
Yes.
All right, Michael Keister?
Yes.
All right. Who else is there?
Jeff Morrison?
Jeff Morrison. All right, Michelle Kang.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yeses. 2, 1, 2, 3, 3 noes, just making sure the math adds up.
Okay, you're doing a fantastic job for after 10 o'clock, I must say.
I'll tell you, these things make it hard to breathe through too.
What was the result?
All right, so it passes, the motion carries 8 to 3.
All right, let's fly through the rest.
All right, fly through the rest.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, and it stinks that we have to do roll call for all these.
No, but you have 3 people who aren't. Are you gonna have them raise their hand?
John, can we save you the time of rereading number 5?
I have no issue with not rereading it.
Yeah, I like that we don't read them again. We've got them right in front of us.
We know what they say, and
Right, that's fine. I mean, it's just a public hearing or whatever, and I'm not
I
sure
know,
what
I
the
know, but we read them already.
consequences are. I mean, we did read them all earlier. So Article 5, do we have a motion?
Summarize it.
All right, summarize, so it's, adding the full-time personnel to the fire department, so that's 3 new full-time people. Cost for 2022 would be $100,848, and for 2023 and beyond, it would be $302,544 plus whatever increases. All right, motion.
Motion to recommend Article 5.
Second.
All right. 5. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. Roll call. Tyler?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Tom?
No.
Yeah.
Michael Kelly?
Yes.
Oh, God, they're both Mike, I gotta clarify my notes here. Because I got Mike Kelly and Michael Keister. So,
We have 2 colors.
We're everywhere.
That's what I was saying, there's 3 MKs.
well, I'm writing first name and the last initial, and that doesn't actually work, so. So, all right, so it worked on Article 4 because they were both yeses. Okay, all right. said yes.
Yes.
John Decker is a yes. Carol Martin,
Yes.
all right, Robert Kelly,
It's a tough one, just, it's hard to get three people.
I know.
You know, one, I'd be, yeah, all day long.
I,
Three's tough.
I went with the recommendation because it's on a warrant article and the town will ultimately make the decision.
Right, the taxpayer.
But if they don't get them, that means you don't spend the money. So, we're just authorizing the money right now. You know, whether they can physically hire three people,
Well, that's just leaving it up to chance.
I'd say no, sorry, didn't mean.
Okay, no, that's fine.
If it was one or something, I'd say yes.
Sandra
Yes.
Jones,
It is a big one, for sure.
all right, so we went in order of Michael Keister,
Yes, on Article 5.
Jeff Morrison,
We heard you that time.
That was, it's a good no.
Sandra, Michelle King,
D3.
7-4.
Huh? Who else? No,
Did Sandra vote?
one.
yeah, that's, everybody.
Sandra was a yes?
There's only three, no.
Oh, it was he,
Three no's.
Mike Kelly was a yes?
I was a yes.
Oh.
Yep,
So
so,
8 to 3
1,
again?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 to 3,
It's a different.
okay. Article 6 is to raise and appropriate sum of $300,000 for highway construction, reconstruction. So this is normal highway maintenance stuff. Any further discussion? All right,
Nope.
okay, all right.
Yes.
So we have a motion and we need a motion.
I make a motion that we accept Article 6.
Second.
Okay. Tyler said yes.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
was a- Michael Kelly?
No.
John Decker is yes. Carol Martin?
Yes.
All right. Robert Kelly?
No.
Sandy
Yes.
Jones? Michael Keister?
Yes, to recommend Article 6.
Jeff Morrison?
Jeff?
Good, no.
No.
Michelle King?
Yes.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4. Motion carries 7-4.
You want a big sheet of paper with all the names?
I was just writing one of those up. We'll make a little chart for you,
Well, that would
Josh.
make life a lot easier for me then.
Yeah, you want this
Yeah,
one?
I'm working on a chart here.
This actually has lines for you too.
I wasn't prepared to do roll call. All right, so.
Remember all those Zoom meetings when you had to roll call everything?
next article is
Number 7.
seven, all right, so number 7 is to see if the town will vote to raise an appropriate sum of $100,000 to be added to the capital reserve truck fund previously established, majority vote required, estimated tax impact is 12.3 cents. Is there a motion? And a second?
Move to recommend Article 7.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. Any discussion?
Yeah, we have 2 select board people in here. Are either of you ones that voted against this? You guys both vote for it?
I was unfortunately not at the meeting because of COVID exposure.
Okay, I'm kinda wondering what the argument is against it, since it says 2-2 here, and I heard now someone wished they could've changed their vote against it.
I guess so.
We have,
No info.
No info? Well, then I'll just vote no, because if
We
2
already-
people voted against it, and then someone later wants to change their vote from yes to no, then there's gotta be some reason, so. I'll spend a yay.
Let's
So,
vote.
all right, let's vote. Tyler?
No.
All right, Tom?
No.
Other Tom?
No.
Michael Kelly?
No.
I would vote yes, because, but, no, that's fine. Carol?
Yes.
Bob?
no.
Sandra?
Yes.
Michael Keister?
Would you restate the motion, please?
The motion is to approve Article 7, which is to vote and raise $100,000 to be added to the Highway Truck Capital Reserve Fund.
Thank you. Michael Keister votes yes to recommend Article 7.
Okay, Jeff Morrison? Michelle King?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4. So 7, 4. So the motion fails 4 to 7.
So it's a do not recommend for.
It's a do not
Or
recommend.
7 to 4.
Yep. Okay. Article 8. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to fire vehicle SCBA capital reserve fund previously established. All right, is there a motion and a second?
I'll move to recommend Article 8.
Or second.
Okay, any further discussion?
This is maintain the equipment we have, right?
And to save money to buy new stuff. Right? No?
Purchase new
It's,
Yeah.
trucks and SUV.
Yeah.
Right,
so
it's not-
this is to
it's
build
not
up
a
savings that
maintenance.
we can use.
it's not maintenance, it's buying
Buying new fire trucks, someone.
fire trucks and/or breathing gear, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, but you're putting this money into like a savings account so that you
Right.
can then use it to purchase these things.
Right.
But it doesn't hit you all at once.
Yeah.
Right, fire trucks are expensive. I know that.
You're up.
Oh. Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Whoa. Whoa.
Tom, you feeling all right?
Protecting life, liberty, and property.
Michael
Well,
Kelly,
something's
Yes.
important to you.
his house is important to him. I'm voting yes. Carol?
Yes.
Bob Kelly?
Yes.
Sandra Jones?
Yes.
Michael Keister?
Yes.
Jeff Morrison?
Yes.
Michelle King?
Mackerel.
Yes.
Wow.
11 to
We did it.
We're not always that bad. Not always that bad.
11-0. There you go, chief.
How do you
There's-
feel?
You got a positive from everybody on that one. All right, Article 9. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $37,000 to purchase dashboard cameras for the Nottingham PD cruisers.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Long overdue, I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, you gotta give the.
With all the stuff going on.
They need the equipment to do the job.
Pretty much everybody approves of police having cameras. The people that like police, the people that hate police, they all want
Right.
cameras.
It's
It
for
protects,
everyone.
protects
It
everybody.
protects the town, it protects the cops, it
All right.
protects the criminals.
Is there any,
All goes
any
to check the
discussion?
Nope.
All right, no discussion, okay, Tyler, yes?
Yes.
Tom, you said?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Tom said yes. Michael?
Yes, for me?
I'll say yes.
Bless you.
Carol,
Yes.
Bob Kelly,
Yes.
Sandra Jones,
Yes.
Michael Keister,
Yes.
Jeff Morrison,
Yes.
and Michelle King.
11-0.
Well,
We're coming together, finally.
Two 11-0s in a row, wow. All right. Article 10, to see if the town will vote, raise and appropriate the sum of $37,000 to purchase replacement handicap lift for the Nottingham Public Library.
Motion to accept Article 10.
I second it.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, Ty-
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Tom,
No.
Michael,
Yes.
I say yes. Carol,
Yes.
Bob Kelly,
Yes.
Sandra Jones,
Yes.
Michael Keister,
Yes.
Jeff Morrison,
No.
Michael Kelly. All right, sorry, Michelle Kelly. All right, Michelle King. Oh, my God.
I didn't
I'm
get
getting
there, John.
tired. I'm reading Michelle into Michael with a K and then just, yeah, sorry.
That's unanimous?
Yeah, so what was Michelle? Sorry?
So yes.
Yes?
9-2.
Okay, 9-2. The motion carries. All right. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to previously established revaluation tax reserve fund for the purpose of performing statutory revaluation of property every 5 years. Is there a motion and a second?
Move to recommend Article 11.
Anybody second it?
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
This is something that we're required to do every 5 years anyway.
Yeah, we're required to do it every 5 years, just splits the bill 5 years.
Let's bill 5 times.
Yep.
But it is essentially like giving a free, you're taking the money from the taxpayer now and just
True.
holding on to it with no interest at a time when there's inflation and people might be able
Right,
to
it
use
just-
that money.
Just levels it out.
I got you.
Yeah, but you're losing purchasing power on your money at the same time.
I think I may have voted in favor of this once before, but I'm gonna vote against it this time,
Alright,
just
so
because I don't
Tyler.
wanna take the money from
Yes.
people now.
Tyler says yes.
Let's go around and do the names so we don't get confused.
Right, Tyler said yes. Thomas,
Yes.
No.
the other Thomas is no. Michael Kelly,
I'll say yes.
I say yes. Carol,
Yes.
Bob Kelly,
No.
Sandra Jones.
Yes.
Michael Keister,
Yes.
Jeff Morrison,
Yes.
and Michelle King. All right, so the motion carries,
9-2.
9-2. All right, number 12.
Do we want to adjust that number now on this one, or does that have to wait?
We can't, apparently,
Gotta do it on the floor.
right, we were told that we can't, so I thought we could, but I thought we could change the amount here, but apparently not. All right. To see if the town will vote and raise appropriate the sum of $10,000 to be added to invasive species prevention and erratic removal, expendable trust fund previously established. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 12 cents, 1.2 cents per thousand of property.
I make a motion that we accept this.
Second?
Discussion.
Any discussion? I'm just writing notes. All right, hearing no discussion. Tyler?
Yes.
Tom LeVey?
Yes.
Tom B?
No.
Michael Kelly?
No.
John Deckers, yes. Carol Martin?
Yes.
Bob Kelly?
No.
Sandra Jones?
Yes.
Michael Keister?
Yes.
Jeff Morrison? Michelle King?
Yes.
Seven, four? 7-4, the motion carried, or whatever, the recommendation carries.
It failed?
No, it carries.
Carries.
Yeah. Where I went to school, that's what I counted up to be.
7-4, 7-4.
Okay.
Carries. All right, Article 13, to see if the town will vote and raise appropriate sum of $33,000 for the purchasing necessary fuel, supplies, equipment, maintenance to run ambulance and billing services for 2022. To authorize the withdrawal of $33,000 from the ambulance and equipment replacement special reserve fund created for this purpose.
I make a motion, we accept this.
Second.
Sorry, just for clarification, so the money's already in the account, it's just
Yes.
gonna,
They collect fees for ambulance service.
okay, so they're just gonna withdraw from that account.
Ambulance makes actually money for the town.
Way to go, ambulance.
Right.
Chief, this is good, we need it?
If we don't, it's not in the budget to fill the ambulance with supplies.
That's not good.
That would be bad.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
So,
Yes.
Tyler, yes.
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 All right, Michael Kelly.
Yes.
John Deckers, yes. Carol Martin.
Yes.
Bob Kelly.
Yes.
Sandra Jones.
Yes.
Michael Keister.
Yes, on Article 13.
Yes.
Jeff Morrison.
Yes.
And Michelle King.
Yes.
Motion carries 11-0. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $300,000 for the purchase of the new ambulance and to authorize the withdrawal of $300,000 from the ambulance and equipment replacement special reserve fund created for this purpose. Majority vote required. We have a motion and a second.
Move to recommend Article 14.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Okay, huh? All right, so no discussion, so yes, Tyler,
Yes.
yes. Other Tom,
Yes.
Michael Kelly,
Yes.
John Decker is yes. Carol Martin,
Yes.
Bob Kelly,
Yes.
Sandra Jones,
Yes.
Michael Keister,
Yes.
Jeff Morrison,
Yes.
Michelle King.
Yes.
All right. 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $48,000 for the purpose of purchasing a new Ford F-350 utility truck and to authorize the withdrawal of $48,000 from the highway truck capital reserve fund established for this purpose. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact is 0 per $1,000 of property validation.
Move to recommend Article 15.
Second?
Is there any discussion?
Are any of the select board people that did not recommend it here, that could explain why? No? Yeah, well, there must be a reason, so,
Yeah, I mean, we already have one truck coming, right?
yeah, I think so.
That was 250,000,
I think
right?
it might be we have more trucks than people or something.
yes, and I know.
That was part of our discussion, that there was more vehicles than people.
Than people, and sometimes you
what-
ride more than one person in a truck. I know the big trucks get
Can I
busted.
just say though, that like, different trucks are used for different purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So the one truck per person argument doesn't really fly.
Assuming you're not plowing with a dump truck, right? You plow with the dump truck?
Yeah, that's what they
Yeah,
plow
plow with
with,
the dump
that's what they
truck.
plow with, is the dump
Yeah.
trucks.
John,
Ideally, dump trucks are ideal.
one thing I wish we had was what the current balances are on these capital accounts.
I can give you a rough idea.
I just think.
If
it'd
we
be
really
nice.
need, that's fine. It's just
So-
a bad time to buy vehicles now.
Like,
It's all
It
used
is,
to-
it's the.
Used car prices are higher than, I mean.
You're not gonna get 'em for a while.
32%.
Anybody know the market value is, I mean,
So-
48,000 sounds like a lot, but what are 350s go
Half
for?
for 350.
No, isn't it?
Probably not.
Ford 150s, brand new, go
Well,
for
it depends on if you, this is not a decked out truck.
No, but I'm just saying that a 150 can go, 40,000.
150 can go like 70 or 80,000.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
depends on
well-
what model you get, but.
I mean, I
Just,
agree that this is probably needed or whatever, but I look in the future, that you know what, you go to some of these auctions, you can get hell of a deal. We don't need brand new equipment in Nottingham.
we're just gonna beat it up, aren't we? Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
That's it.
like
That's exactly
12,
it.
15 grand ought to do it.
And
Well,
just-
no, they cut the frames at all every year, or maintenance, like that New Hampshire oil up there, we go, and Chichester. I mean, did you ever see that, like they spray the whole?
Yeah,
thing?
I know, I don't know what actually takes
That would
place.
definitely save.
So the highway truck fund, as of the end of 2020, had 208,499 in it. Then we added, so we probably added 100. I gotta look up what number that was.
This is for a brand new truck? Yeah, there it says it, okay.
Yeah, brand new.
I don't see those prices coming down. So if you wait,
Not right now. I mean, maybe the chip shortages will help drive it. I mean, like the newer vehicles, there's just nothing out on the lot.
Right, so last year we added $100,000 to it. So that would bring it up to
308.
308, and then we probably bought a truck, so we bought a truck apparently, right?
For like 250,000, was it?
was it?
I'm looking to see what we
I thought it
bought
was
a truck for.
254.
All right, so then we bought a truck for 240,000.
Wow.
So, and we withdrew all that money from it, so it was 308 minus 240. So that's 68,000 only in there right now. So, and,
68,000 in there, no?
right, and didn't we say no to that capital reserve fund? So we said no, so there's 68,000 in there.
So this truck will bring it down to 20K.
Right, basically, if we vote to buy this truck, depending on if it passes or not, if they followed our thing, it would bring it down to 20K-ish, assuming that we voted for this. So, that's where things are.
Can I make before we act on this one, can I make a recommendation to revisit Article 7 for reconsideration? Because I don't feel very comfortable having $20,000, if we pass
Well,
the
then
truck.
vote no.
What's that?
It's up to, I mean,
We
the
just
tax,
have to make a recommendation one way or the
Yeah,
other.
but-
We're not deciding what's gonna
I
happen.
think what we're questioning is whether we need the truck versus training down the capital reserve down to 20,000. You know what I'm saying? Those are the choices.
Well, the other part of that question is, are you comfortable with that fund having $60,000?
Right.
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 Right,
That's why I'd like
right,
to.
and that's why I kinda didn't like the order of these.
Right.
And I think that the two of them should be discussed together, but,
I think the information we just shared is important.
yep, yeah.
Because anyways, can we do that? Can we
Are we really gonna change our votes much? mean,
Well,
I don't
kinda
know.
wanna get
We'll
going.
find out. We have more information now.
Well, we have, so, did we make a motion on this one
Come on,
yet?
Tom.
You can hang in there.
Did we make a motion on this one? Yeah, we have a motion and a second already on the table, so we have to,
Vote on this one.
we need to vote on this one first. So, I don't know. Is there any more discussion? All right, hearing no more discussion. Tyler?
No, I see it that way, no.
I just think it's unfair.
Tom?
Abstain.
Okay, Tom?
No.
Michael Kelly?
No.
I'm gonna go with no. Carol?
I'll abstain.
Bob Kelly?
No.
Sandra Jones?
Yes.
Michael Keister?
Yes.
Jeff Morrison?
Oh.
Michelle King?
No.
Okay. So we have 2 yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 noes. And 2 abstentions. So the motion fails, or what? So we not recommend Article 15. Okay.
Make a motion, we reconsider Article 7.
Is there a second for that?
Do I have a second? Okay. I tried.
16. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $233,750 to pay off long-term debt acquired to purchase property known as Mulligan Forest. We have a motion and a second.
I'd like to recommend motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right,
Yes.
Tyler, yes.
Yes.
Tom, B.
Yes.
Michael Kelly.
Yes.
John Deckers, yes. Carol Martin.
Yes.
Bob Kelly.
Yes.
Sandra Jones.
Yes.
Michael Keister.
Yes.
Jeff Morrison. Michelle King.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 11-0. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $136,228 to pay off long-term debt acquired to build the new fire station in 2007. All right, do we have a motion and a second?
A motion, recommend.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, Tyler?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I should probably be calling names off. All right, so that was Tom and then Tom, okay. Michael Kelly,
Yes.
John Decker is yes. Carol Martin,
Yes.
Bob Kelly,
Yes.
Sandra Jones,
Yes.
Michael Keister,
Yes.
Jeff Morrison,
Yes.
Michelle King.
Yes.
Motion carries 11-0. All right. New line.
Oh, it's weird.
this roll call. Would have been a lot easier if I made a,
Spreadsheet for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with these properties, either soil or something. You know,
Alright,
you know,
number 18. Number 18, shall the town vote to adopt provisions of RSA 36-4:4A IB to authorize the Conservation Commission to expend funds for contributions to qualified organizations for the purchase of property interest or facilitating transactions related thereto where the property interest is to be held by the qualified organization and the town will retain no interest in the property.
I think it might, well, you can, I was part of the discussion, go ahead.
So, yeah,
Wait for the
we need a
discussion.
motion and a second.
I'll move to recommend Article 18.
Any seconds?
second.
All right, discussion?
My understanding is they actually have to have a public hearing every time they expend the funds, so it doesn't just go them off blank check to.
So does this also take away that the selectmen's authority to yay or nay their spending?
That's what I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so. What we were looking at too was, I mean, if they had a piece of property, say they were trying to do something and things contaminated, why should the town, you know, if it's a mega cleanup site or whatever, we don't wanna put that on the townspeople at all, so.
I accept it then.
Well, I don't know, it just gives them the right to talk to people, whatever, easements, whatever, I mean, but the town should have nothing to do with it.
I mean, basically what it comes down to is that some people are more comfortable dealing with one of the organizations like the Bar or Self than they are with the town. Nothing that the town operates or handles these things like all, it just, it's, some people prefer to do it that way. You gotta check with the lawyers, there's no legal risk, nothing else at all.
And the qualified organizations are only 501c3s.
Right, I understand that, but
Yeah, but nothing's stopping anybody from donating money to those organizations anyways. I mean, I get letters in the mail from CELT all the time and it says, hey, here's a piece of property we wanna buy, can you give us money? And I go, here you go.
I have some issues with some of those organizations because they are not really, they speak about conservation, but then they restrict the use of the properties, so that's where I have issues.
I don't really understand this whole
Call the vote, you can abstain.
So right now, the town has the conservation fund and they use it to purchase properties or easements on properties. But when they purchase a property with that, the town holds the title, the property is owned by the town.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But this is saying that we can take that money in the conservation fund, we can take the taxpayers' money, we can buy a property and then give it to one of these organizations.
No,
so
it's
they
saying
own
you
it.
can give money to the organization, so the organization, so if it's a property the
Right,
town doesn't
right.
wanna have to
Right.
maintain, they
So
can do it through self.
We'd be giving the money to, say, Selt or Green Paw, or Bear Paw, or whatever it is, and they would be buying the property, so the town would not be able to own the property, it wouldn't be considered public property.
Well,
It
sounds,
would
town
be
doesn't have to
privately
maintain
owned
it,
by
yeah.
one of these organizations.
sounds like the selectmen think it's a good idea.
Right, it sounds like the selectmen think it's a good idea.
I don't personally like it because of, SALT, what they did to, Stonehouse Pond, like halfway between here and Rochester. It was like this open space that was very free to go, and they went in, and they changed the parking, and they changed the trails, and now there's all these regulations there. So I would not like to see that. I think our town, with our taxpayer, and we would have some impact on, or some influence on the property. But if we just take it and say, like, here's our property, like, go do what you want, I don't agree with that.
That's the kind of issues that I have.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I
that's
don't know.
my perspective
All
on it.
I think if the
Tyler?
taxpayers have to pay for something, they should have input on how
Yes.
it's run throughout
Absolutely. Yes.
perpetuity.
Yes, you said? All right. Tom Levay,
No,
Tom,
No.
Michael Kelly,
No,
John Deckerson, no. Carol,
Yes.
Bob Kelly,
no.
Sandra Jones,
No.
Michael Keister,
Abstain,
abstain?
abstain,
Jeff Morrison,
Well, I like the thought of the conservation, but outside organizations don't sit well with me.
All right. Michelle, King?
I vote no.
Okay, two yeses. One, two,
Eight no.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 noes, and 1 abstain. All right, good. Not recommended. Article 19. To see if the town will vote to discontinue and relinquish all public interest in a portion of Cahill Road by SR Cahill Lane, beginning at the northwest corner of tax map 68 lot 51, extend to its terminus and subject to the condition that the owner of lot 49-2 conveys an easement for a truck turnaround at a location and a form satisfactory for the board of selectmen. All right. Does this one impact us?
I don't see why it does. I think it's, the only reason it's on here is because the select board petition, put it on instead of citizen petition.
Well, we could take a vote and.
I guess that's fine. Doesn't hurt if we recommend or not, according to what lawyers have told us in the past.
What is it, Tyler? Just a small portion of
Yeah,
land?
the guy came in, like I said, when this all happened, I don't know if he was around when the thing went down or whatever, but he came in, and I think he went to the planning board too, and just said, hey, I got a problem here, I can't even, my house is basically on the road. So, and he came in with some documents or whatever, and then, but he agreed to do that turnaround.
So it's kind of setting things to rights for him, and it's good for the town as well.
Yeah, and he's making a turnaround, so, the emergency, if something happens there, there'll be access to get in and to get out.
How did accepting the road all of a sudden become under his
Did he
house?
accept the road, or his neighbors did, he was forced to?
No, I think the town did, actually.
Right,
so.
it was added to a petition warrant article.
It was part of the Lake Roads last year, right?
Right.
The town was a line on a map, and no one actually checked to see if that line was not under somebody's house. And they said, well, that's now a town road.
Exactly.
That's why we were doing
Right,
too.
and that's why I was more worried about the guy beyond him,
Right.
because if it takes away
Snow remover,
his,
road maintenance.
right, but if he's cool with it, then,
Yeah,
His
all
neighbors are.
indications is.
well,
that
the
they're
other
fine with
neighbors
it.
are, it's only one guy past
Okay.
would be, so the other people are fine, cause it's still before the turnaround.
I mean, ultimately, you guys are gonna send a notice to all these people and say, you better come to deliberative if you don't want
Yeah,
this.
well, I mean,
Right, so.
I don't know if we do or not, like I said, it's funny because you get some more, and it's the people from the, like, where I live on Shannon Drive, we learned the hard way the first time. Not everybody was there, so when the vote came up, it got defeated, but the road's brand new, built by spec and all, but I saw it happen in Strawberry Lane a few years ago, so they better come. Or, and he better round them up or it could get defeated. Because some people just hear new roads, blah, 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 they bury them.
So, all right, thanks, Chief.
See you, chief.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that we don't have jurisdiction on this. There's not a significant appropriation involved, and, just because it says we opt to, I don't believe it.
It lowers the amount of roads that the town has to maintain,
It
so.
really doesn't. It's one little piece.
Right,
of
it's
it.
not, it's,
That's
that's right.
currently a public road though.
It's
apparently.
not, I agree, it's not gonna change
It
that.
goes through the road up to that point.
All right, well, I mean, it looks like they want us to make a recommendation on it, so
Oh,
why
it's
don't
just
we
because the select
do
board put
something?
it on there. That's the only reason.
I move that we recommend Article 19.
Second.
Well, yeah, we had a motion, didn't we have a motion and recommendation?
Well, now we definitely do.
Okay, so we do, so that's fine. Whatever, number 19,
Yes.
Yes,
hang on a second. Who seconded it?
And then the first time or the second?
Oh, wow. All right, so yes. Yes,
Yes.
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 Michael? Sure, I'll say yes. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna say abstain because,
I'm gonna abstain too. I was gonna make your life complicated.
right. Abstain. All right, Bob Kelly,
Yes.
Ken Jones,
Yes.
Michael Keister,
Abstain,
okay, Jeff Morrison,
Abstain?
Michelle Kang,
I abstain.
Good one. You tell that was an important one.
6 abstains,
5-4.
sorry, 6 yeses, and the rest were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 abstains. It passes, and
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Those words right out of my mouth.
Anything else we have to do?
Not in my opinion, no.
Oh, you have to, oh, none of these other ones.
Do we have to accept the revenue?
They didn't give us, revenue. This is not a revenue.
it's not really a revenue work, it's just last year's. Which are just become, you know, if they carried those over as estimates, but
Are we,
they're not revenue projections.
So we don't make a recommendation on the rest of the articles?
Not unless there's tax impact that somebody can argue.
Petition ones don't get recommendations from
Well,
any.
they would if there's tax impact.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We decided there wasn't when we discussed it.
Well, I know everybody wants to go, and I hate to be the guy, but like 21 is accepting more roads.
Right, but that's not really tax impact. Because they're already being maintained.
Well,
I'm putting it this way.
I disagree with you on that. because
They're already being maintained, you can't put a number to it.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this year's budget and all the engineering and all that.
Yeah, we got killed with new roads this year.
these roads have been around for a while, I think. I don't know, I think there's
These,
You don't even know.
We'll get to
the
talk
roads.
about it.
0.7
these roads are
miles,
probably
isn't it?
newer than the other ones, but
Probably, maybe,
they've all been cow
That's
paths.
good, really.
They all start at cow paths. So, all right,
I'm leaving when you're ready.
Those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Not gonna go home.
If you
Night, guys.
say no, there's something wrong with you.
Technically, you're supposed to take a roll call.